Hey everybody, it's 9 o'clock as promised, and we are on Restream. No more StreamYard. We're on Restream, and we got a couple of guys in the basement that are going to come up in 2 seconds, and we're going to talk generators. We're going to talk small engines. Gary's more into the electronics and all that stuff, amplifiers, all that stuff. Hey, whatever you want to talk about. But I know a lot of fans of Jim's, Gary's, and some of mine even want to come up, say hi to us, and get in the chat and all that. So let me bring up the first guy, who is Jim. Hello, Mr. Condon. How are you?
Good, thanks. How you doing?
Not too bad. And we also have Mr. Bernacki. Hello, Gary.
Hey guys.
All right, let me put the chat out and see who's in the chat. It looks like there's a bunch of chatters. So, can you guys see the chat at all? I don't know if you're looking at
I can,
YouTube.
yes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Right
I
now, the
might
way
have
this
to.
is working, I'm the moderator. Okay, I'm providing the restream, so I can put up comments like, for example, uh, Drunken Jim just said, "Hey, 2 minute warning." So I can put up comments, show them, not show them, things like that. Okay.
I like the name.
Um,
Perfect.
they can't do that, so they can see the comments whether they're watching on their own channels or whether they're watching on the restream. They can see the comments, but they can answer comments if possible, or that's about it. So if the comment needs to be seen, if someone wants to show a comment, I'll do as best I can. But remember, guys, it's just me. And right now, there's 51 people watching in like the first minute, so it may get a little crowded on here. So anyway, let me go to the beginning of the chat, see if anyone said anything. Let's see. Randy had asked a question, and Terrell had a stream a few hours ago
I saw
where,
that.
yeah, he was showing how to do
Yeah.
chainsaw chain. Randy had asked this question, and he said he asked you guys one time before. We all know Randy. Randy's the air conditioning guy, our friend. Um, a 2800 watt generator being able to run an RV AC and a 3200 not being able to run the same thing. Well, the thing is, I'll say something first and you guys can talk, but it sometimes when I see ratings on generators, I don't know if they're full of crap or what, because you've got you got rating and then you have surge rating, and you guys can take over from there.
Yeah, the surge rating I would pay no attention to whatsoever. But some generators have oversized engines. So when you say it can't do it, why can't it do it? Is it out of horsepower? Is it the circuit breaker that's tripping? Or does one have an AVR and one not? Maybe one doesn't have an AVR, it drops by 20 volts, whereas the other one has an AVR and it stays stable. So there's a couple factors really to consider. But I mean, ultimately, it has to do with the horsepower, the voltage, the circuit breaker, and just, sometimes they advertise a generator at the absolute max. Like actually, Ryobi is a good example. The 5,500 watt Ryobi, they put
Yeah,
an engine on there that can do 6,500 watts.
it'll do it.
Yep. But if
Really?
you
Say
get,
say you put a 13 horsepower engine on that same rotor stator. Where does it max out?
what do you mean?
Well, like for example, say you have a rotor and stator out of a GP 5500, okay,
Yep.
Yep.
and that engine is what, 8, 9 horsepower, 10 horsepower, whatever it is, okay.
15.
Okay, say you put a 17 horse engine, just for sake of
Yeah, yeah,
argument,
yeah. Yep.
would it max out at that same 5500 rating? Is the generator or the stator itself rated? How's it done?
Yeah.
By the
Well, I mean,
windings or
usually it's based on how large the stator is and
okay,
like how well it can dissipate the heat. So I mean, you could theoretically you could run it over the 5,500 watts, but you're going to heat that thing up and you're probably going to shorten the life of it
okay,
dramatically.
yep, yep,
Um, but the engine will have no problem doing it.
okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, roughly it's about 2.5 horsepower for every 1,000 watts under load is the general rule of thumb on how generators are rated. Most of the time you're going to see them rated in wattage,
Mhm.
but the more realistic is ampers,
Yeah, but
and
what's
that's
the
a little
difference
bit.
between volt amp? Because E equals IR and watts equals EI. I mean, I know the math and all that. What is
Yeah,
volt amp versus watt? Because I thought a volt amp is a watt, VA.
volt amper
Hmm.
is, well, just to put it in simplistic terms,
P equals
1
VA,
volt.
right? I mean,
Yeah, well, V equals IR. I mean, you have all those
yeah,
equation
yeah.
formulas, but to simplify it down, volt ampere is at the power factor of 1. So a purely resistive load is a power factor of 1.0. So if you have 1,000 watts of resistance load, then that's 1,000 volt amperes. If your power factor is less than that, then it's going to be a higher voltage ampere, even if it's a lower wattage, basically.
What
So it's
determines
basically
power factor, though? That's my confusion.
right, reactive versus apparent power. I mean, when you start getting more technical like that, a lot of times it's not really necessary if you're trying to power loads in the house. Usually just go by the running wattage. That's usually simpler to
So what's
understand.
advertised on the piece of equipment is okay?
What's usually advertised, I mean, there is a volt ampere rating, but it's usually not shown. But the rule of thumb is any generator that has 2.5 horsepower to every 1,000 watts under load. And they say under load because, a gas engine, a 4-cycle gas engine following the Otto engine cycle is not always going to deliver consistent power. You're going to have a power stroke every 3 strokes, for example. So you're going to have some inefficiency in there. So that would be the more cylinders you have. So like all the big, 3-cylinder and 4-cylinder diesel stationary generators, they're very efficient. They are going to put out a lot more power at a lower RPM, more torque at a lower RPM, but versus the 3,600 RPM screamers that we tend to work on all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Jim, this question here about larger equipment. I don't know if you've seen or people have donated anything larger for you to work on.
Yeah, I've helped a few people remotely through email to fix larger machines. I think my biggest thing is just the logistics. I would need more than a garage probably to work on stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
I actually do have one technically home backup generator. It's a stationary generator. That video isn't quite done yet, but technically it's a Briggs and Stratton, but it's essentially a tractor engine inside a stationary frame. And it's only 7,000 watts. So it's pretty weak as far as, stationary machines go. I did do one a long time ago, actually with a friend, Rob, who had a Generac. I think it was powered by a Mitsubishi, very large unit, but it was only kind of half a video. I actually got COVID right in the middle of it, so you didn't get to see the whole thing. But Rob finished it on his own. So yeah, I'd like to get into bigger stuff. I think that's going to have to come in the future, though, if I ever get a dedicated
You got to
space.
contact Small Engine Mike and maybe get together with him and do something because Mike, those that don't know Mike, if you go to 805 Road King, you'll see one of his sidekicks, Mike, Small Engine Mike. He's into the big power plants, whether it be for a house or for a building. He's into it, especially the antique stuff. So Small Engine Mike, good channel.
He does that for a living, and
that's his business.
Small engine mechanic, and he almost always works on big engines. I mean, fantastic talent. I love watching him. I actually wish he still made videos. I know he hasn't made one in a while.
I know he bought a house or something, but someone said he might have gotten married or something. So I don't know. I haven't really seen him shortly. But all right, quick question. We got to go through. There's tons of stuff in the chat. I'm way behind, so I'm gonna start to speed through some things. Those of you in the chat, if I don't put your question up to be answered, if I see a comment or something, I may do it quickly so we can see it. But the guys are reading the comments on the sides. Like for example, this one here. What fuel lines do you prefer? I mean, me personally, it's got to take ethanol. You have to make sure you have something, the good rubber that's rated for 10% or in some cases more because some states and countries, counties are going for 15. Canada, for example, they want to start 15. So you got to watch that. Okay.
I like the fuel lines too that have the nylon in it, like the reinforced.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the Hondas and Honda clones, it's so cheap, that fuel line. It's a miracle that it doesn't burn down every generator that it's on.
Let's see. Everyone's saying hello. Everyone's doing good. Is that just a test scare to make sure you can see it? Yep, that works.
It works.
Tennessee is saying hello. Hello, Tennessee. Let me get down. It's funny. I'm watching it on my big screen here, so I could actually read the comments without my cheater glasses, and I'm trying to see it on the screen too. Everyone's saying hello. Hello to everybody. We are looking at the comments. We have 76 in the house, so smash the like if you would, please, to help out all of our channels. From Mexico. Hello from Mexico. Michael, hello. All right, let's see if we can get some more stuff. Ohio is here. Thailand is here. Holy cow. Hello, Thailand.
Nice.
It's probably a lot better weather down there.
Yeah, it's been brutal here. I've been
Yeah.
last weekend I had to test some
Yeah.
stuff because I was out of video content. Like I have 5 generators that are done, ready. Videos are almost ready. I just got to roll it outside and test it. And it's so windy and so cold for the last 7 days. I haven't wanted to do it.
Let's see, 14 horsepower gas engine. Why does the engine have to have such a high RPM?
I just answered
Yeah,
that in the comments if we couldn't get to
yeah.
it,
Oh,
but
okay.
I think
It's they don't have to have a high RPM. It's just a matter of, the engines that they use, they get the most horsepower, 3,600 RPM. The alternative is you could run it at 1,800 RPM and have it geared in such a way that every one revolution of the one revolution of the engine is 2 revolutions of the generator, but you need more horsepower, probably multi-cylinder. It's more
Yep.
expensive. And RVs actually have usually generators that are at 1,800, just so that, the generator is still running at 3,600, but they
Geared
actually
down
have
or
a
belt
belt.
you're
down.
down. It's
Yeah,
usually
belt
with the belt
drive.
and pulley system. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
technically it'll run at 2,800 RPMs, a little bit lower because usually around 26 to 2,800 RPMs for a single or a 2-cylinder.
Okay.
That's where you're getting the maximum torque
Yep.
curve, not the maximum horsepower, but torque is more important when you're trying to run at full load there.
All right. Let's see. There's a Gary question.
Which kit? Is it from US Carburation? Is it from Nash Fuel? I know is another popular one. I, for one, have had really good luck with the US Carburation kits. If they use what's called a snorkel, it's basically a little probe that goes into the throat of the carburetor, and it will inject the propane that way. And the demand regulator, the big regulator that goes on the side of the machine, actually has a safety vacuum lock off. So basically, the propane or natural gas will not flow unless there's negative pressure where the engine's pulling a vacuum to open up that regulator to let the gas flow.
They are good, those kits. My only complaint, maybe not so much with those kits, but propane and natural gas sometimes can be a real pain to start.
Well, the one you
Sometimes
just
have
did
to-
with the Champion, Jim, was that an issue at first?
that one's not, because it's electric start. But if you have
Oh.
one that's pull start,
Yep.
you might be pulling a very long time. So I will say, if you're going to go propane and natural gas, I would get electric start.
Yeah, that's good.
It's going to save you a lot of grief.
And a hotter
'cause-
plug.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
but let me
change the
ask you
gap
though,
too.
hotter plug, but then when you go back to gas, what's it going to do?
Well, you kind of have to look at the, halfway in between the two. The flash point temperature of propane is much higher than the flash point of gasoline.
Okay.
So you can, to compensate for that, if you go a hotter plug, or you can use the same plug and instead of say 30 thousandths of a firing gap, go 20 thousandths.
Yeah.
You get a smaller gap means a hotter spark, which you'll have probably an easier time starting up on propane or natural gas.
Good point. But I think part of it too is the lock-off valve and just having air in the lines. Like if once you
Right.
prime it and get it going, you can usually stop it and start it again fine. But if you're just
Yeah, but let me
hooking it
ask
up,
you though, that valve though, is there a prime button, or is there anything? I mean,
Yes.
how do you,
the good kits, yes. But
Okay.
that's my
Yes.
thing. Like that Sportsman generator I did, the one that
Doesn't
killed
have
me,
one.
doesn't have one.
so what do you have to wait an extra 10 seconds, or what's the?
Well, what I would do is I would run it on gasoline, and when it was about to stall, I'd open up the propane valve.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you
Yeah.
give it a squirt of starting
It'll still be
fluid, but-
revving down and blah, 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 and then pick back
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
kind of kickstart
Take
it.
advantage of the inertia. Okay.
The Garrettson or the KN regulators that have a primer button on the back of it that opens up that lock off manually, and that will allow propane to flow. It helps to purge the system of any air.
Yes. you
Does
can
it
also
flow
flood
though
it
at a
real
different
easy.
rate? I mean, a different pressure or anything, or is it just opening up the valve totally? What's it actually doing, that button?
It's just opening up the valve
Yeah.
manually without using the vacuum.
Okay.
Still goes through the regulator, but yeah, I mean, if you hold that button too long, you'll flood it. You got to wait a second.
Yep.
All right. Jim,
It's
this is more.
the pressure is the same, but it's not it's the flow, it's the volume.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
This is 81 in the house. This is more of a two-parter, Jim. One guy's asking about what you do with the generators, and another guy's saying, where do you sell them? I don't know. Do you sell them, Jim? I don't know.
I used to sell them. Actually, now I give them all to Jason. So Jason supplies me with a lot of equipment. That stuff goes back to him. And the stuff that I get on my own, I also give to him and let him deal with selling it, because I'm actually not home most of the day. And I would never be able to turn these things all around. So I give them to them. I'm like, I don't care. Sell it. Get what you can get for it. And
Do you
um,
actually? But do you get back what you have into it at all, or is it more just for the channel?
yeah, it used to be that I would make about $100 a generator.
Okay.
And if I couldn't do that, I wouldn't fix it.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't matter so much. I try to keep the repairs kind of along those thoughts. I want to be able to make money on it if I sold it, but ultimately I'm letting Jason sell it, and he'll make the money. He gives me most of it on the stuff that I do and the stuff that we share. We share the profit. I mean, he's dealing with people, and to be honest, at this point, selling the equipment isn't how I'm making my money.
Yeah.
It's
Let me ask you
making the
though, because
videos.
I've always asked this too. Where'd you meet the guy, or how'd you meet the guy?
I bought a generator from him. So actually, I got to find the video, but I bought a storm responder that had a blown connecting rod. I bought it from him, and I think I stumbled across another one he was selling. So like I was going over there. I made several appearances to buy machines, and kind of explained what I did. And he's not into the technical stuff. He's not into
I mean, is he an older guy, younger guy, our age, your age?
He's
I mean,
he's my age, actually,
Okay.
probably exactly the same age.
Okay.
So
Right.
he's more of he doesn't sell just small engine stuff. He'll sell refrigerators. He'll sell just anything he can get his hands on.
Yep.
And
so those
he
guys
flips
out
it.
there that don't know, I'm the old guy. Jim's about 10 years younger than me, and Gary's old enough to be my son, but that's okay.
Thanks.
Anyway,
I guess
all right.
I don't know where to be feel old or young
your mother
again.
and I graduated high school the same year, 10 miles apart. So, but that's beside the point. All right. Technical question there about technical stuff. Yeah.
Well, I will say Champion is a great company,
They
they have a lot of good resources. So it's the videos, even the technical data. Like if you wanted to install a new generator on your Champion, they have articles on how to do that. No other manufacturer has that. And I know Champion gets a bit of crap, especially with the one I've been working on. I think I've done 3.5 videos on that one. But at the end of the day, they do support their stuff.
But is it a U.S. presence for tech, or are you talking to Bangladesh?
What do you mean? As far as
they're out in California.
Okay.
They have an office in California. I don't know exactly where in California. It's definitely not where all the fires are. But they do have a U.S. presence. They have U.S. distribution. They are made overseas, yes.
Yeah, no, the only reason I said that was I called up one time for tech service on something, and it was a woman in Thailand feeding her 3 children, and I was like, "Excuse me,"
They do have overseas support as well. But I've always had, even if I wasn't able to get them on the phone that moment, a technician. There's a group of technicians that have actually designed these machines that you can call, leave a message, and they will get back to you.
As good as Furman.
I've never called Furman.
I've called Furman, and I have gotten similar service. Don't forget, Furman and Champion used to be one and the same, but then their sea level kind of split like an atom at one point in their history. So Furman is somewhat closely aligned. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same factory in Shenzhen that's manufacturing these same machines, just branded differently.
All right, you guys can refresh my memory because I keep forgetting this. What is the floating versus the bonded neutral and all that? I know basically what it is, but a quick synopsis for me.
Yeah. So in your home electrical system, there is a bond between neutral and ground. It's in your breaker panel.
Yep.
You're only supposed to have one bond.
Meaning if you have 3 sub panels or something, only one of them has the bar. Okay.
Yeah, the main panel has that bond. So like I have a sub panel in the garage. That one is a floating neutral or whatever. It doesn't have the bond because it goes back to the main panel. So if you hook up your generator, you want to break the bond in the generator so that it's floating because you have it in your house.
And that's the lug. That's the lug on the frame of the generator, the ground lug. Is that what that is?
Well, no, it's actually usually it's in the generator. Sometimes it's in the control panel, but it's literally a wire that connects ground to neutral.
Oh, okay.
So if you leave that bond in there, what basically happens is current does flow between the generator and the house on the ground wire as well as the neutral.
Can you get shot?
Very outside chance, but
technically you probably could between ground and neutral because the current may not be flowing evenly.
But is this something a homeowner has to be concerned with? I mean,
They,
Yeah, some of it sometimes.
yeah, in theory, yes. I know a lot of people don't.
Do the
do
manuals
it,
tell you
and they
this though? Do they
survive.
tell you enough in the manuals so that you
They
No,
won't.
no, and really, the big danger is, I think, the bigger danger is when you're running a generator not connected to the house and it's floating.
Okay.
Because what happens is if a live wire hits the frame,
Yeah.
nothing happens. Everything runs as normal,
and you can get.
and then you touch the frame, you touch something else, and you die.
I guess.
Yep.
If you have a bonded neutral on the generator when it's not connected to the house and that live wire hits the frame, it pops a circuit breaker immediately.
Oh wait.
Yeah, like you can't have two. Basically, here in the United States, the NEC or the National Electric Code says that you can only have one neutral ground bond at the point of service. Is typically how it's understood. So, your main panel is going to be neutral bonded to ground through an 8-foot ground rod, and then your generator, if it's meant to be used separately, meaning not connected to a house or anything, then its neutral is going to be bonded to the frame. When you connect it to your inlet box, either through an interlock or your transfer switch, what have you, now the connection between your inlet box and your panel and your generator, now there's two neutral ground points. Now you're going to have circulating currents between the neutral and the ground. Now, it's not really that big of a problem, except if you have a device in your house that has an earth ground fault. So something shorts out to ground. That current is going to be split between your 8-foot ground rod and the generator frame. Should you happen to be touching the frame of your generator when that happens, some of that current is going to flow through you to get back down to earth because it's splitting the current.
What about if you have a hairdryer plugged into a GFI in your bathroom and you're using the generator and you're holding onto a metal hairdryer? Can something like that come back and
No.
No?
Nope.
Okay.
The GFI will trip it almost immediately. And as a matter of fact, if you have a GFCI plug on your generator and you try to use a bonded neutral setup, such as the neutral has to be bonded in a GFCI output generator. That's what it needs to have that reference. If you connect to a 2-pole transfer switch or a 2-pole interlock, and you're leaving that neutral and ground bond solidly connected, as soon as you plug it in, that GFCI on your generator is going to trip because it's sensing the current. The only way to fix that, you either remove the bond at the generator, which is what a lot of places will do. They'll recommend that, or you get what's called a 3-pole transfer switch, where you actually have to disconnect. It'll disconnect the neutral ground bond at the switch. You have to leave your neutral ground bond in your generator connected, and that generator is going to need its own ground rod. That's not the most common setup. Most of the common setups are 2-poles, circuit breaker, interlock, and a 2-pole transfer switch.
Saying that, I got I have 2 questions. I've been told, because I'm in the equipment and machining and power equipment, things like that, we talk all the time. Someone said to me one time, "No, GFIs are gone. It's all arc fault now." Yeah, like when you're building a house.
I mean, it's for higher voltages, sure. New houses, sure.
Okay, all right. I was just curious, but all right. I guess my other question is, oh shit, what the hell I was gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. Anyway, we'll go on. I'll remember it. Anyway, 85 and a 2-stroke. I don't know what you mean by that. E85 is ethanol, though.
Yeah.
If you have E85 fuel and you mix it with 2-cycle fuel oil, what's that going to do to
chainsaw?
I don't think it'll run.
If it does run, it's probably going to eat those fuel lines until they're nothing but jelly.
The diaphragms.
Yeah, but I'm saying E85, it burns so slow. Is it even going to start?
Does doesn't it? It has a lot less energy. Density.
I know when I used to drag
right?
race, the alcohol guys were pissed because they used 3 times more fuel.
You're getting the same output, but you got to burn more of the same fuel to get the same output.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with natural gas and propane. It has less BTU content than gasoline. So it's much more efficient. It stores way better, but you have to burn more of it in order to get the same output on gasoline.
Is this the same guy that talked about the natural gas kits before? Is it the same person?
I don't know.
If not,
I don't know.
If not, Imad, go back on the replay. We did talk about that for like 10 minutes, so you can go back and see that. All right. Let's see. We're supposed to get snow in the morning.
9 inches.
So who knows? Yeah.
That is impressive.
That's a lot.
I heard 6 inches earlier in the week. 9 beats that estimate. That's
Texas,
a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to imagine there's no plows down in Texas, so
No.
hopefully it melts quick.
They shut down. Like when I worked in Charlotte
Yeah.
for a while, ice, just ice. That's it. Shut down the city. That's it.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
They just don't know.
I got family out in McKinney and Roanoke, Dallas, Fort Worth area, and they're getting some cold weather down there.
Yeah, we got our division in Grapevine. They're having fun. Yeah. Let's see. Where you showed a car
Yeah.
muffler. Well, I've seen the ones where they bury it in the. Remember how they used to have the earth mufflers? Where you bury them in the earth, where you dig the hole in the ground. Do you ever see those from years ago? The hit and
No.
miss and stuff like that. The muffler was actually a hole in the ground. If you
Yeah.
look back on Smokestack, you'll see some of the old generators where the exhaust actually went 10, 15 feet down in the ground.
Yeah. I will say that video is one of my most watched videos, which is crazy because it was
Was
a
that where you tried
random.
to get quieted down? Is that the one?
No. It was a generator that I bought that had a car exhaust system
Oh, okay.
welded
All
to
right.
the generator exhaust, and it looked hideous. It wasn't really noticeably more quiet. It was more quiet according to the decibel sound meter,
Yep.
but to listen to it, it was not worth putting the exhaust on. So that whole video wasn't really, I wasn't going to patch it up because the whole point of it was I was going to rip it off and put it back to factory. So, I have seen and heard of a lot of people that have done the same thing, and they've always said they're disappointed. They're very disappointed by the result.
Mhm.
So I think ultimately an inverter is the way to go, or deflection. Put up a couple sheets of plywood between you and the house and send the sound away from the house.
I mean, I know people that build dog houses for them. As long as you have vents so it can get fresh air.
Well, that's the thing though. A lot of people don't vent it properly, so
Yeah.
I usually don't recommend that because it might be good for storage,
Yep.
but unless you're aware of how the generator vents, like the stator takes air in from the end, the engine takes air from the end, it all goes into the middle. And a lot of times I see the venting and it's not really
Yeah,
a good
it's a little
airflow.
box about that big. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. See, in my thing when I say a doghouse, I'm more concerned almost like a carport where you're really protecting from the rain, but you want a lot of
Exactly.
airflow.
Yeah, that's what I do. Actually, I don't ever show it, but on my generator, I put a piece of plywood on top
Yep.
to keep the rain off because it's always a storm when you roll the
Yeah.
generator outside, and I don't want my generator to
Most
rust
of
and
my
get all
buddies
wet.
throw them under their decks, just to keep it
That
dry.
works. Yeah, just some way to keep it dry, but keep it outside when you're
Small
running.
engine tax. I use a DTI 20K that I saw years ago on Arborist site, and I love it. There's so many different ones. The Echo Tag. You've got the Echo type, right, Jim? The Opama.
I have the Echo type, and I also have the
Yeah.
inductive one where you wrap the wire around
Yep.
the plug
I
wire.
get a lot, even on my DTI, it's got the option where I can plug in the antenna. It's a
Yep.
lot more, on mine anyway, it's a lot more stable with the wire around the wire. Sorry, with the antenna wire around the spark plug wire. It's just a lot more stable. I've had some of the wireless ones where, depending on how close you were to the wire, it could
Yeah.
drift a little bit in the reading.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I have the same problem, but it's usually you can tell, you can listen to it and know where right around where it is.
Yeah.
And if you hold the thing up and it's like way off, you're holding it in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Got to adjust.
What do we got for Gary here? Poles, I don't know how we learn. Poles, yeah, all the electrical poles and stuff. All right, who else we got here? Thomas is here, Mr. Andrew from New Hampshire. Hello. What else? We said that one already. Randy Shaw. Hello, Mr. Shaw. How are you? Who else we got here? Oh, there you go, Gary.
Yes.
You can email him on his channel. Oh, you already answered it. There you go. Do you offer that to anybody or no?
I do, yeah. I've been repairing quite a few of those actually, just recently, and they sometimes come up in like batches. I'll get a whole bunch in a all at once, and then I won't hear from anyone about those machines for a while. And it's usually the same problems, but it's most of the time overloading or corrosion on the pins. It was a bad design to begin with, but it's still a reliable circuit. It just, you have two boards connected by an umbilical wire, and it just
Yeah.
Sooner or later, the pins inside corrode away, and you wonder why you got high voltage exploding stuff in your house when it should be running at 120. Instead,
Yeah.
you're getting 175.
Here's a question I'd ask: that little lug on the generator with the green paint on it. When do you put it into the ground on a rod?
When it's a standalone setup, if you're not connecting to a house.
So if I'm outside using this thing to power saws and everything else, I should ground it to the earth.
You should, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Technically,
So
Technically,
to
but
avoid a shock, what am I trying to do?
you're
probably
trying to
more a
you're trying to
lightning
create
strike, right?
lightning strike. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When the neutral is grounded to is bonded to the frame, you're creating a low impedance path back to ground. So rather than going through you, or your
Yeah.
hand, or whatever, down through your feet to the
Yeah.
ground, which electricity is trying to get take the path of least resistance back to Earth. That's what that bond is for, so that you don't get shocked. All the current's gonna go to that low impedance path, and it'll trip the breaker on an overload.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, I see when you open up the manuals, they all show it. They show that lug. They show a rod going into the ground. But I have customers asking me, should I be doing it? And I didn't really know how to
Yeah.
answer them, to be honest.
It's hard, and it's more take it with a grain of salt, because you need an E1 certification, and even then, even
What,
some of the
just a
electricians that
pound of
I've
rod
talked
in the
with,
ground?
well, you pound an 8-foot ground rod down, and then everything gets bonded to it. But if you're out in the field, sometimes it's not even really worth it.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If I'm out, say I'm at a friend's
Yeah.
house, he doesn't have a generator, he's got some stuff that needs power. I'm in his backyard, an acre and a half away. Do I need to put a 2-foot rod in the ground to help myself or help the generator?
The correct answer is yes, but nobody does.
Yeah,
Okay.
nobody does.
No, but I'm saying, you're
Again,
saying the 8-foot rod. Say I have a 2-foot piece or something. Will that suffice?
no. 8 foot is the NEC spec. You need it to go down
Really?
that far,
Wow.
below the frost line.
Frost line. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
our frost line
At least
48 inches here.
48, yeah, something like that. You needed to go
Really?
because when you get below the frost line, I think because the
The
further down you
conductivity of the
go,
liquid, or what?
no, it's just it's the ohms potential gets
Okay.
lower as you go
Wow.
down into the ground. If you only have a 2-foot ground rod,
Yeah.
the soil is more aggregate. It's not as compacted. The lower
Right.
down you go, it's more moisture content. Water is a conductor of electricity, so you have a lower ohm potential.
Oh, I knew someone was going to ask this. Mr. Torque Wrench, you can answer this one, Jim.
Sure. Well, some of the
funny.
manufacturers, like some of the old ones, like Honda and Briggs, Tecumseh, those specs are pretty easy to find.
The first 2 or 3 pages, though, sometimes you'll see the generic fastener sizes, where it
Yeah.
tells you that, or usually in the back of a manual, you'll have that.
Yeah, a lot of those are fairly easy to find if you just Google it. I think the bigger problem is, all the Chinese clones, you're not going to find, for the most part, you're not going to find a service manual for those. A lot of those specs I draw on Honda. Champion publishes specs. And actually, I did get a Rato service manual. And the thing is, the Hondas and the Honda clones, they're all built usually with the same fasteners, almost the same torque specs. So, if I open the Rato manual and I open a GX390 manual, those specs are within a couple, 10 inch-pounds of each other. And pretty much every generator I work on, if it's not a brand name, it's a Honda clone. So, I mean, those specs apply to a lot of machines.
Yeah. Having done as many as you've done, do you ever have to look back at a book, or do you just know it now?
I do. Like right now, I'm working on a Honda EU 2000, and I've only had one apart this far before, and I had to go back and look, what I did last time, because even the service manual is vague. Like putting the sump cover on, you would think they'd have a torque spec on that. They don't. You have to look at the general specs, and you look at the general specs, and they have, well, is it a bolt? Is it a bolt with a nut? Is it a bolt with a thin head? Is it a self-tapping bolt? Like, you have to figure out what kind of bolt that this is. And, so there's some ambiguity there, but, for something like that, I had to double check. And even the weird thing is, all right, you might know this question, Ken. A GX 100, can you hone the cylinder?
Is it Aluminum's iron. What is it? It's aluminum.
You know,
right?
I got to put a magnet to it to find out.
Yeah.
But
The
it
only thing I
is
would say, Jim, is what I do. You can't use stones that you've used for iron on aluminum and vice versa. So if you
interesting.
have your own separate, I have a separate ball hone just for aluminum.
Okay.
So you don't want
Well,
to contaminate. So you
that's
have
a
to
good
keep
thing to
it
know
separate. Yeah.
because I'm sure I've contaminated. I think
Yeah.
the the head on that engine's not removable. So even if it's like a metal sleeve,
hmm
honing that without bottoming out,
I
breaking
would
the
just
stones,
buy a
or
cheap ball
tapering
hone,
it.
Jim. A cheap ball
Yeah,
hone. Just get one of
yeah,
those.
yeah, yeah. All
That's-
right.
Someone's being nice to me. Saying it should be called Ken's questions. That's okay. My stream.
Ken knows a lot of stuff.
Well, let me just say one thing. When I first met Jim, okay, I went over there with my bore gauges, my mics, my
Yep.
calipers, and I showed him how to measure and how to determine all this stuff. So I'm I'm no dummy. Don't get me wrong. I have a
I call
mechanical.
on Ken quite a bit.
I've had,
I'll
well,
text
I've got
him.
a
I'll ask him
mechanical.
questions like, "Can I hone this? Can I
But
do
I've got
that?"
I have, just so people know who I am, I have a mechanical engineering degree. I work for the largest defense contractor in the world. And I take care of $1 million machine tools. So I know a little bit. I'm not just some guy on YouTube. Okay. I do have a little bit of an education and I have an MBA. But anyway, that aside, what else we got here? Everyone's saying hello. Let's see what he's saying about New Hampshire.
Nice.
Snow. Ooh,
But
I want snow. I
nice.
really want snow.
Me too.
Oh,
It's been a
my
while.
buddy Tom from Australia is texting me right now. You know our friend Tom, Vintage
Yeah.
Engine Repair. He's texting me right. What time is it now? It
Isn't
is.
it like
It's 13
what,
hours
12 hours?
difference. It's
Okay.
13 hours. Yeah, so it's
It's in the
10:30
morning.
in the morning for Tom. I'm going to ask him if he wants to come up. He's got. I tell you, Tom. I'll be honest. Those guys that don't know him, our friend Tom, Vintage Engine Repair, Tom in Perth, Australia. He is like the two-stroke guru. He anytime I this is what I do. I'll be working on a chainsaw and I want to tune it and something's not going right. He's on the phone with me listening to the saw saying, nah, quarter turn this way. Okay. And he's tuning it from a phone from Australia. That's how good he could hear it. He just knows what to do.
Impressive.
So anyone who wants to see a great channel about two strokes, especially Vintage Engine Repair, my friend Tom in Perth, Australia, phenomenal channel. Definitely take a look. If you're into two strokes at all or want to learn about two stroke theory and stuff, it's really a phenomenal channel. But all right, enough of that. Hey, Arch is here, our friend Arch. We know Arch in Long Island. Hello, Arch. That's all right.
Close?
Let's see what else we got here. Who else we got? Motorhead. What do we got? I'm just going through the comments here. Everyone's doing good. Hello, Motorhead. How are you? Johnny Bravo. That's one of Arch's buddies, North Alabama. No need. Yeah, I was funny. You talk to John Clem and our friends that are on these channels, and they're like, snowblower. What's a snowblower? Generators, yes, because they get the hurricanes and all that. But snow equipment, they have no clue what we work on. It's hilarious. Let's see.
Their infrastructure, why would they need it?
Yeah, Tom's still waiting for the blizzard.
I was joking around with my friend down in South Carolina. Get this. I mean, he used to live in Connecticut, and he moved down to South Carolina to get away from the snow. And now he's getting hammered with snow.
I know. I'm seeing a lot of the southern states. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, you talk
Things
about
are a little
that.
backwards.
1 out of 4. I've got 5 snowblowers in my garage for the past 3 years that I can't give them away. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here.
It's been a while since we've had a big storm.
It really has. I mean, we did a good one, like 2 feet, something decent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Is ethanol
I agree.
fuel available throughout? Yeah. In my area, no. My general area, I'm in Fairfield County, Connecticut, lower southwestern Connecticut. I would have to drive probably almost toward the Massachusetts border to get that stuff. I don't know if there's anything.
Yep.
I mean, Gary's 40 minutes north of me. I don't know if there's anything.
I'm in Litchfield County, so no, they don't have anything like that up here.
And they don't.
You can only buy it in cans.
In my county either. You have to drive probably half hour, 40 minutes to another county to get it. So I mean, you can get it, but it's not where we live, unfortunately.
What I've been using lately, because it's winter, I don't know if you guys seen my video about working on lawnmowers in the winter. I show a picture of a lawnmower with icicles on it. The guy wanted me to fix the Honda lawnmower. I said, well, it's winter. And I didn't want him to have it sitting in his shed for 3.5 to 5 months and then, oh, it won't start. So I use Aspen fuel, okay, which is the alkylate fuel, which everyone's like, what's alkylate fuel? It's highly refined gasoline. It's got a lot less of the schmutz in it that regular gasoline has. But anyway, guaranteed for 2 years once you crack it open, okay? And I'll be honest, Wayne, EP Performance, Wayne and Jake up there in Ontario, they have equipment that's 4 years old and it's been used maybe twice and it still starts on the first pull with the same fuel, alkylate. I swear by it. My dealer gets about $10 a quart for it. You can get it for about $6 a quart if you buy 5 gallons. He sells it for 10. I usually get it for around $6 a quart because I buy it in volume. But I say to my customer, hey, give me $10. I give you a quart of the alkylate. Don't use it for 4 months. You're not going to call me back because it's going to start.
Yeah.
So
It's good for storage,
yeah.
and it's good for
Yep.
things you don't use a lot. But a 7-gallon generator tank, no.
That's why the
that's
natural gas and propane conversion kits are so popular now, because gasoline starts going bad within 30 days.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if you put stabilizer in it.
Yeah, Jim, what do you do when you get an old generator with 10 gallons of crap? And what do you do with it? I mean,
Well,
around my
thankfully-
area, they only take like 2 or 3 gallons a year.
Where I live, they take up to 10 gallons a year,
Really?
5 gallons every half year. So, yeah, I have to save the worst of the worst for them, and the stuff that can be reused, cleaned, filtered, water taken out, I have to mix with good stuff and throw it right in the car.
I do that with my Snapper rear engine rider tractor. I literally say to myself sometimes, I could probably pee in the tank and it'll run because that thing runs on any. Like I said, that.
Yeah.
Well, here's a tip: the Mr. Funnel that the guys like to tout all the time. You have to make sure it's sitting for about an hour before you put it in. If you shake up that bottle at all, the water molecules will mix with the gas molecules. It'll go through Mr. Funnel. So if you're going to use Mr. Funnel, block off the bottom, fill it up, let it sit, then use it.
I bought one of those. I had very high expectations. I ended up throwing it away.
But that's what I said. That I talked to the engineers because it's like a coalescing filter element. It's just the size of the particles, so the molecules, if you will. A water molecule is bigger than a gasoline molecule, but when you mix them together, you get those little outliers, and they make it through. So put it in the Mr. Funnel, let it sit for 10, 15 minutes, then drain it. That's the best way to do it to ensure water is not going to go through. Don't shake up the fuel or, I got a can. Don't. It will go through. You're going to piss yourself off. You really will.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
Water is a polar molecule. It's got 2 opposite charges. So, yeah. And water is heavier than gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to do it. Honestly, I wish they would just sell a jug that had like a funnel and a little valve, so you could just take the water right off the bottom.
Jim, they have that. If you notice, Greasy Shop Rag, our friend Scott in Wisconsin, Greasy Shop Rag, the radiator fill funnel, okay?
Yeah.
It's got that funnel with that 1 or 2 inch little snout on the bottom with the plug that goes into it. You let it sit in that for a second, because what I do, I have beakers ranging from, say, 200 milliliter to 1,000 milliliter. I'll fill that up with old fuel with the stopper in it, okay? Sit it on top of the glass beaker, and then you can see the water and schmutz on the bottom. I open it for a second, close it. There you go.
Yeah.
All the stuff went at the bottom, good fuel on top.
Yeah, so it should be as simple as that.
Well, my friends take gallon jugs, water jugs, fill it up with ethanol fuel. Okay, put a little bit of water in there, shot glass of water, shake it up, let it separate. Take it all. They see the water line, they pop it, they drain out the fuel. But what they just drained out too with the ethanol was the octane.
Yes,
they don't realize that, so you got to use octane booster. Just taking the ethanol out, it's going to kill you. What provides a lot of the octane? The ethanol. So people got to watch that, Oh, let's see here. Beginning. I need help with a backpack blower. Well, shoot away. Shoot the questions. We'll see what we can do. It's not just generators. We talk about a lot of stuff. North Carolina, what do they offer? Like Bruce Pender, our friend Bruce, his shop, he's got a co-op where he is, and there are pumps in Canada where he is that are ethanol free. And then there's pumps with pure corn ethanol. So it depends where you live in the country. If it's a lot of farmers and things too, it depends. Boating, when you do a lot of boating, aviation, You're not going to have
Yeah.
ethanol in the aviation
Yeah.
fuel.
You're gonna have leaded fuel in aviation a lot of times.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
I have
And
family
can
down
use
in
that
North
in
Carolina. And last time
Uh,
I was there, I pulled up to the pump and I'm like, God, I wish I had all my empty gas cans. I'd fill
Well,
up and drive it
Jim,
home.
do you keep them in the 2-liter soda bottles? I see you always using 2-liter soda bottles.
No,
No.
that's just
I keep them in
that's
a
just when I'm
jug.
draining unknown fuel.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
I want to see if there's water in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the easiest way to do it.
What happens if you put gas, no oil? That's about all I'll say. That's why whenever you're
Gas,
working on a
no oil.
two-stroke and it
Oh
feels
yeah.
locked up, you always pull the muffler first. It's the easiest thing to do on a two-stroke to see if it's seized. But
Yeah, there's a place that you guys mentioned before about getting rid of fuel. Usually with generators, something that large, if it's usually more than a gallon, there's a place around here that I go to. They charge me per gallon to get rid of it because then they spend the money to have it chemically disposed of.
how much?
About $10 a gallon.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, not cheap.
To get rid of the oil, it's not cheap.
If
because
I
they
get a
have to
lot of
pay-
fuel,
Yeah.
yeah, go. I have a friend who does that for a living. He collects
Like
hazardous
Safety
waste,
Clean, that kind of
works for a
stuff?
company. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah,
he
it's a
can
chemical
dispose of
disposal
it,
company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but he's not close. So unless unless I'm overflowing with bad fuel, I don't.
Yeah,
make
our
that
town offers it
trip.
once a year, hazardous waste pickup, where they do all that stuff, but you're limited. There's 3 towns in my area that combine to do it. You better get there at 4 a.m. because it's a 3-mile line down the
Yeah,
street.
it's usually it's the same thing up here at our transfer station where I live up in the Litchfield County area. But like I said, it's usually around $700 to $900 for their big 275-gallon tank to be pumped out every so often, and they're working on machines all the time
Well,
where they have to chemically dispose. Sometimes I usually bring a couple gallons here and there. It's not a big deal. I usually just build it in my charge when I'm building out the customer for a waste disposal fee. But, it's a lot if you're figuring a 5 to 7 gallon generator tank that's been sitting for a few years. It smells like paint varnish.
yeah.
Terrible.
Well, I actually had one customer with it was a plastic tank, thank God, on a generator, so I don't have to worry about rust, but it had 8 gallons of disgusting varnished fuel. And I said to the guy, I said, look, not for nothing. For me to clean this out and dispose of it, I'm gonna have to charge you $100. Okay. Because 8
Fair.
gallons of that, I can't even put it into anything, So I
Hmm.
have to pay, like you said, Gary, you got to pay to have to get taken
Got to
away.
pay for it.
You know what the guy said? He goes, "Well, I'll find a used tank for $50 and you could throw that on." And he did.
Well, I mean, if you
And I
want
gave him
if
back
you
the
want to be
tank with the
cheap that
fuel in
way.
it. No, but I just said to him, I said, "It's your problem, not mine." See, people think we work at small engines. We have like recycling centers in our basement and we take care of all the chemicals and all that. No, we don't.
Used
And
oil, hydraulic fluids, stuff
Yeah.
like that can be recycled. Yeah, you can bring that down to your local auto shop or whatnot.
Our
There-
AutoZone won't take it anymore because too many people were using
Contamination.
well, brake cleaners and things like that with toluene and benzene and stuff like that. It takes forever for it to get out of the mixture.
Yeah, it's very
And
highly volatile. Yeah.
they got screwed one time because they were using it, or they sold it to someone who was using it as waste oil in a furnace, waste oil furnace. And the EPA, the neighbors were complaining about deposits on their vehicles and smell. So the
Yep.
EPA did a test. It was like toluene, benzene, all that stuff. So now at first they started with like sign a piece of paper. It's only motor oil. It's only hydraulic fluid. It's only brake fluid. Well, people, what do you use when you do a brake job? I use 4 cans of brake clean. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah.
and if you don't let
Yeah.
it sit on I use a tray, like a metal pan that goes underneath a vehicle when you're working on it. Like when your car leaks oil, you always put the metal pan.
Yeah.
I use one of those every time I do a brake job. I let the stuff sit in that pan for 4 hours or so. It evaporates finally. You know what I mean? But most people will just pour it into with the used oil, used brake fluid, and all that. No, those solvents they're dangerous. They really are. So.
They really are, yeah, and that's why I said it's tough. A lot of times you have the gas and the oil mixed together because of the leaky needle and seed or something like that, and the chemical company that the other shop works with will take something like that, and most likely what they're going to probably wind up doing, and if it's probably more costly to clean that liquid, to separate out the old fuel from the oil, for example, they just wind up burning it, I would think, somewhere safe where they can get it up to a hot enough temperature, and then whatever's left of the carbon ash that's left, that they just, dispose of it that way.
Yep. I'm trying to have my furnace now cleaned, and my problem is the chimney, the furnace flue pipe out of the boiler is maybe 5 feet high. Okay, where it goes into it. Well, the whole chimney tile is full of ash because the house is 70 years old. Okay,
Right. Oh, it's
and
inside those. Yeah.
it's inside
You
flue.
need a
And
liner.
well, no, no, no. What I'm saying is, it went up the flue pipe and down the ashes, filled up. I got 5 feet of ash. Who's going to clean
Mhm.
that out and take it away? I mean, it's noxious. Okay. Even
Right.
just a HEPA vac isn't going to do it. They have special vacuums in the furnace. So my neighbor up the street is a boiler guy. And I fixed a
Yeah.
backpack blower. He goes, I'll clean out your furnace. I go, yeah, but I need the thing vacuumed out. Oh, I don't do that. What do you mean? He goes, no, no, that's too toxic. I'm like, yeah, but it's
Very
not.
toxic. Yeah, it's like carbon black. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
So, it's like, okay. But anyway,
Yeah.
Jim, what's this one here? When you have a generator engine that is not outputting power as advertised, would you ever try to build the engine for more horsepower? Yeah, but don't you have to? Well, you guys can answer.
I mean, I've had that before. I mean, sometimes it'll fall short by like 500 watts or something, and it's like, all right,
Mm.
how far do I take this? Like, why is it 500 watts short? And I have not considered doing that for fun on a generator. I have thought about it on go-karts, as far as like, billet head, or, a high quality connecting rod with actual bearings, or, billet flywheel, just, to make
Yeah.
a 6-horse engine into like a 20-horse engine. But on a generator, no, haven't really thought about that.
Well, I seen the one you did, Jim, a few years ago, where you actually re-rated it with new decals because because
Yeah,
you couldn't get it there.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The engine, yeah.
Okay. Let's see what else we got here.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's 2.5 horsepower for every 1,000 watts under load, and if you fall short of that, then there's usually a problem with the engine.
Okay. What else we got here? Yep. And with no oil, it's definitely going to seize. Here we go. 35. Yeah, I wish we had ethanol free. Like I said, the closest one to me
Yeah,
is
that'd be
literally
nice.
an hour and
Yeah,
15 minutes
that'd be
away.
nice.
Yeah,
Like I said, we
nothing.
get it in cans here around here, and it costs about $29.99 plus
Yeah.
tax for 102 ounces of ethanol-free fuel, and
Mm.
we only use that. I mean, for me anyway, I only use it at the end of the season for generators or for snowblowers, specific, or any machine really. I tell customers, drain the fuel out or run it dry, and then I'll pour some of this fuel in there. If you don't want to drain out the carburetor and the bowl, you pour some of the stuff in, run it for like 10, 15 minutes, shut it down, and then put it away. I do that with my snowblower now, and it does have a propensity to evaporate away, but it doesn't leave the residue where it clogs everything up.
Mhm. Now, Radney, with his question, give me your opinion, guys. What do you think? A portable generator that's always in his truck
Yeah.
box, and
I would, if he wants to ground it, I would ground the shop. Like, is the shop grounded already? Or is it only powered by the generator? Because if you just drive that rod in, connect the ground wire to whatever panel you have in your shop, and then when you
Yep.
connect the generator in,
it's a
assuming
mobile
you
shop,
connect the
though.
ground
It's
wire.
a mobile shop.
Oh, it's a mobile. I missed
Mobile
that
shop,
It's a
detail.
mobile. There's
like
actually
a trailer.
specific
Yeah,
Ooh,
rules for trailers that
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
they say bonded to the frame. Is the
The
last I
frame of the
researched
truck.
this topic.
The frame
The
of the
frame
truck.
of the truck, correct? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but let me ask
But
you:
I
if you're
did
bonded to
not
the
do
frame of
some
the truck,
research.
that won't affect your computer, electrics, or anything in your car or truck, or
It's a separately derived system at that point. So, I mean, it's a negative ground system. So
yeah, yeah.
I remember seeing that in the NEC code 2008 electric code somewhere, but I think that was the recommendation, was to ground it to the frame of the trailer.
Okay, cool. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Jim said no. He gives them all to his friend Jason. Let's see. Here we go. This one's technical, Gary. You could probably look at that one. What are the different codes? Different.
Yeah, TNC and S. Yeah, that's
What is that? Is that codes or what is that?
no. TN, so T stands for direct connection to Earth. N is the direct connection to the power supply's neutral point, or the halfway point of the transformer. And then what's the other one? S. So S just basically means that it's the neutral and the ground are they're separated, but they're being protected by separate conductors, basically.
Okay.
It's a standard is what they're referring to, what he's referring to.
Good. Well, thanks for that. I never knew that. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, Jim, I bought a boom. I finally bought a boom, and I bought a knuckle too to rotate the camera at the end of the boom, or actually rotate the boom. So I'll let you know how I make out, because you were asking about that, how to rotate it. Yeah.
That makes a big difference.
I have this little switcher that can do this, but I haven't. I don't have the other one connected.
Oh, nice. Fancy.
Yeah, because you can do the picture-in-picture.
2 different angles.
Yeah. When I was at Jim's house weeks ago doing that Generac, I'm saying to myself, "Oh, I'm going to look at his high-tech system." It's like, it's not high-tech. It's a well, no, the thing is, it's a tripod, it's a boom, it's a cell phone, and he gets it like close to the thing, so because you always have good close-up shots, and I'm like, that's it. And
the key is a tripod. The key is good lighting, good sound, and I lock the focus quite a bit, because otherwise it doesn't focus right, or it's constantly changing focus. So it's really just setting up the shot. And it's if you look back at my earlier videos, you'll see what it's like to record with a cell phone with no lighting, no sound, no tripod. It's not good.
What do you think, Jim?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, dynamometers. You know how you have the little
exhaust.
So you piss
actually
off the
they have those. I mean, in Home Depot they have that. They have a little small engine shop. They have like a little closet, and they run stuff and test stuff in there, and they have like the little thing they hook up to the exhaust. So it's a good idea. I think, for me, technically this is a hobby. It's not a full-time job. It's running an engine.
Yeah, we all work full-time. All of us.
Yeah. And it's like, we do this. I run an engine maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times a week for a minute or two here and there. Like, usually it's not enough to justify it.
Yeah, Kerry, I could talk to you about that all day. There's a big difference between mechanics and machinists. Anyway, let's see. Tropical Australia. No snow. Tropical East Coast. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, our buddy Tom is from the West Coast. Let's see. Another question we've got here.
Hunting Pro Generac V Twin standby. Well, I don't work on standbys, but I have worked on Generac V Twins, and yes, I've come across it, but the ones I've worked on, they run on gasoline, and usually it's a lean condition. The only other thing that can cause it is the governor, but usually it means it's running lean. So if you have a hunting problem on a standby, it's probably something wrong. Maybe not enough pressure, something wrong with the regulator.
A question, getting back to your last video, and we all had our thoughts on that. Are you convinced that the thrust washer was the smoking gun, or what?
No, absolutely not, because the thrust washer, although it should be there, the governor is going to spin at the same speed regardless of whether that washer's there. I think the only difference is that it will mesh better with the gear that drives the governor. So I don't know if having it set back a 1/16 of an inch is enough to change the way the governor functions. It definitely throws the calibration off. I mean, adding that washer, made the calibration go off by a 1/4 inch. But regardless, you should be able to reset it and get it to work, whether that washer's there or not. So I'm more of the belief that there was something wrong with the governor. Okay. But I don't know.
You got it fixed, though.
Yeah. I mean, I could have swore it would have been that thrust. I mean, put it this way. Whenever I rebuild that, especially Kohler engines, a lot of thrust washers in there. And if you don't have them in, especially on the governor, it don't work right. So.
No. But why?
Well, 2 things. You've got distance is one thing. Okay.
Yeah, the geometry is different.
But the oil film, you really don't want a cast iron surface, which is porous, to have the plastic rub against that. You'd rather have it rub against a precision ground thrust washer, so you have less stiction and all that.
But the gear is still going to spin at the same speed.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
totally agree.
It's friction. Yeah.
Yeah, it was magic in that case. That's all it was.
A lot of work to get that magic, but the magic.
Oh my God! Yeah, it was one of those things. After I rebuilt that engine,
I fast forwarded, Jim, and I see you got the engine apart. I go, what the hell's he doing?
Yeah.
It's like
I
it's a
didn't want to
governor.
do
Why is it
that.
taking it apart?
I didn't
Yeah,
want to do that. After rebuilding that engine, I was so happy it was
yeah,
together, and I went to load test it. I'm like, what
yeah.
is wrong with
But
this
let me ask you,
governor?
when you took it apart and I fast forward, I saw it. Did you like totally clean that thing out? It looked like a brand new end plate. When you put the video in showing the governor, it looked like it would you totally clean the thing out or what?
No, I didn't do
Really?
anything.
It looked like it was brand new. It looked
It
like the
opened
engine.
up, the
Yeah.
gasket came off clean. It
Yep.
only
Yep.
been closed for maybe a month,
Okay. Yeah, because
so
it
I
looked
didn't
like it
have
was
to do
totally brand
anything.
new. It looked nice and clean. Yeah.
I was happy to see how clean it was. It means
Huh.
I didn't botch the job. So not metal chunks everywhere.
Uh, Two-stroke Yamaha clones have you had?
Two-stroke Yamaha clones.
Stormcat
Ooh,
tailgater.
I didn't
I'm
even
not.
know those were Yamaha clones, but I've only done one tailgater that I can think of,
What is that,
long
Jim? Is
time
that
ago.
a small one, big one? What is
It's
it?
like the Harbor Freight little 1,000 watt
Okay.
Yep.
two-stroke generator.
Never realized they were Yamaha clones, but cool.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't either.
let's see.
Good to know, though.
Yeah.
We got here Shopcat. Good channel. My Craftsman generator is one of those contentious. One of those cases where I fix it, but not entirely sure how. Hey, how many videos have we had where it runs beautiful and you're like, I really didn't do anything? You know?
We've all had experiences like
Yeah.
that. It's like you never read where you don't expect something to get fixed. You put all the work into it and you still
Yeah,
expect that every time you put it back together that
yeah,
something else is wrong or it's not
Yeah.
together just right, even if you follow you follow the directions exactly, but the one minor detail that you can't figure out. I
Yeah.
mean,
You
we all
changed 5 things. Which one did it? I don't know.
well, you don't know. I
exactly.
mean,
I was trying to change one thing at a time too in that Champion, but I'm like, I'm in here. I'm not going to add the washer and put the old governor back. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
the sh-
putting all the new stuff in.
the shotgun method really is warranted at that point if you've tried everything. You're trying to do the scientific method to try and figure out, okay, was it this part, is it that part, or is it this assembly? And if the frustration, and it's not a question of if, it's a question of when this frustration sets
Yeah.
in, blow it away,
Those
change
parts
out
aren't
everything, and
expensive
there you go.
either. They're
No, and
not
for the
expensive.
trouble, I mean,
Exactly.
you have a lot of content on, and you put like an hour or sometimes even a hour and a half, 2 hours there, but it ain't no 1 hour to 2 hours of work. There's a lot of hours going into a single machine. 5, 8, 6,
Yeah.
7 hours, something like that. Something like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's
Um,
a lot of time. And I
yeah.
don't know if you noticed too, just opening that Champion up again, that rotor bolt, every time I've removed the generator, I've hit the bolts with the hammer, and it's getting to the point now where I had to use a file to make the bolt, into a
Hexagon
shape.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had to hammer the socket
Mm.
on. I'm like, I can't take this apart too many more times. I'm going to need a
Yeah.
new bolt. But
Ethanol Shield, I would say go back to Terrell's
Mm.
videos because he did a lot of
yeah,
stuff on Ethanol Shield. I mean, it's a good product, don't get me wrong, but I mean, a lot of it's snake oil,
All of
to be
them.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. What he came up, what he would discover was that all of these fuel stabilizers are not doing. They're protecting you from the one thing that is not causing the problem. You have ethanol and you have gasoline. You have an emulsion. You have it blended together. It will prevent these types of
Isn't it
fuel
phase
additives.
separation? Phase
It
separation?
prevents phase separation. That's what those additives are doing. They're preventing those two things from separating. But what it won't do
Take
is
the
it will
water
not
out.
stop. It will not. Well, it will not stop. It won't take the water out, but it will not stop ethanol from being hydrophilic, meaning that it wants to
Absorb.
attract moisture from the air, and that is what causes the fuel to go bad. So I have not used stabilizers in a better part of a decade because they just don't do anything. They don't do anything worth. They won't fix bad gasoline. They won't fix,
Yeah.
varnish or anything like that. They won't remove the water, as you mentioned. So it's, yeah.
There was one product years ago. Guy in Brooklyn made it out of his garage, and I think it's somewhere around here called FA, fuel additive, okay, or fuel activator, okay. It was like a colloid, meaning it would grab the particles of water, put them in suspension with fuel, and let it burn. Okay, let it pass through and burn. I haven't seen it lately. I know someone said there is a product out there similar to it, but I haven't seen it. Hey, our friend Robert, I heard from him yesterday. Remember the engine that he blew up? Remember he forgot to put oil in it, Jim?
yeah, yeah.
He got it going.
Nice.
So he sent me a video. So hopefully, Robert, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow on my live stream. Those that don't know, I do a live stream every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, where sometimes Jim, Gary show up, whatever. All my small engine guys from around the world. We talk basically anything small engine, and then we get into just talk about anything. So if you're available tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, join us. We usually have a good
Yep.
time. Marine water separator. Um, yeah, yeah, like diesel separating, moisture separators, coalescers, things like that. Yeah, yep. Hey, there's Tom. Tom is there. Tom, if you want to come up, I'll put the link in there. I don't know if you're still. Yeah, it's only 11 o'clock in the morning there, Tom. Let me put the link up
Yeah.
for you, Tom. Let's see if you're there. Hold on.
I'm actually gonna head out here, guys.
All right.
I'm gonna get ready for do a few
Yeah.
other things
How
before the
you
night's
doing for
over.
time, Jim?
I have all the time in the world, Ken.
Okay, just checking. All right, Gary, we'll talk to you later. Thank you for coming
Guys,
up.
thanks for
All right.
having me on.
As
Have a
long
good
as the
one.
heat stays on. See you, Gary.
See you guys.
All right. I'm gonna put the link out. Controls. Let's see. So, Tom, if you're still there and you want to click the link, I'll see if you're in the basement. Uh, bu- 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 I've asked Bree for doing stuff. We're all friends with Bree. We know Bree very well, and Ron, great people, great channel. They're just busy. They're very between their kids, their business, their this, that, the other thing. It's just we've asked, but like I said, they're very busy. And like I said, my channel's tiny. I got 7,000 subs. Jim's got a great channel, 200 plus. But like I said, we work. Our lives are busy. Jim's got small children.
Yeah.
It's he's a
Yeah.
hell of a lot busier than I am. I mean, I'm in my 60s, and for me, I'm sort of like getting ready to retire. So for me, it's a little bit easier, and that's
Jealous.
why I facilitate these chats a lot of times. Because even Jim will say, "I don't want to do it. You do it." And I'm like, okay. 'Cause
Yeah.
to me,
And that's the thing. I'm almost never available. Like 9 o'clock,
yeah,
that's the only time I can do this.
yeah.
And it's pretty late for a lot of people. A lot of other
Mhm.
channels, they're in bed. And I don't blame them.
Yeah, what's
It's
Gary
late.
saying here? Rodney small engine repair. Honda Emerson will not provide. Really, Honda? I thought Honda schematics were available somewhere. No, Honda won't provide anything like that. Interesting.
Uh,
Interesting. What's he talk? Hold on. I think his question is here. Rodney's question. Here we go. Have
yeah,
you ever
they don't
tried to
provide schematics for those
my
boards.
channel?
And
Well, Gary
it's a
does.
lot of time.
What is that thing, Gary?
He
He
he will
actually
depot the
depot.
Generac boards, but the stuff that is used in the Honda boards, and it's a whole different level, and it's massive and deep. Like
Really?
to spend the time to peel that out, you're going to cause probably more damage, a lot of damage, and it's a lot of time. You're going to pay someone $50 an hour, and they spend 2 days departing a board, or you're just going to buy another.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's a nice tribute to you, Jim. Well, thank you. So anyway. Yeah. So, like I said, I've taught Jim
Yeah,
stuff. He's taught me stuff, and and I'll be honest, guys, we have a pretty good sized small engine community, especially around the world with the internet. There's probably 100 or more of us and in fact, I'll be honest, I talk to small engine guys around the world every single day. They
yeah,
literally, I talk to Tom all the time in Australia, Mix Mowers in England, talk to him all the time.
yeah,
Klaus, Hobby Motor, he's in Denmark. I talk to him every day.
yeah.
With things like WhatsApp and stuff
It's
like that, you're not paying millions of dollars for phone calls. So it's so funny because most of my friends now are thousands of miles away. You
Yeah,
know?
it's a good community too. Like if someone has a generator question, it'll come through kind of the grapevine to me. And it's the same thing. If I get stuck, I'm not as good with two strokes. If I get stuck, I'll ask Ken or I'll ask Tom. If they know it, they'll tell me. If not, they'll ask someone else.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's
you
like,
did that one video, Jim, with the chainsaw, and it was funny. We had about 6 of us. We were
yeah,
all live together one day, and Jim couldn't figure out why this thing was like dying or this or that, whatever. And we're all like, impulse, impulse. And he's
yeah.
like, what? And tell him what you found in that. That was funny.
It yeah, it was just a piece of the impulse line, right? It was just
Yeah,
a
stuck inside.
manufacturing defect. It was
Yeah.
jamming it up.
That's
So
all it
yeah, as
was.
soon as that came out, the saw
Yeah.
ran, and then I found like three other problems.
And what's
But
that video called? Chinese Chainsaw, I think it's called.
Chinese chainsaw challenge,
Yeah.
probably.
Yep. Yep. It was funny because we were all sitting there with him one night, and we're all live on the WhatsApp. We're like, impulse, impulse.
Yeah.
And it was funny because Jim had like a 10-foot long impulse line that he hooked up, like an improv to hook it up, and it worked. And he's like, "Holy
Yeah.
crap!" Yeah. So yeah, but like I said, all of us out there, me, Mick, and Klaus, and Hank, and all those guys, we've been doing this stuff. I've been doing it for 25 years now. Okay. So we've had experiences with all the different issues and all the different types of things. So between all of us, there's thousands of years of experience with
Yeah.
different things. But like, for example, my buddies over in UK, I don't work on the crap they work on over there with the rollers instead of wheels in the
Yeah.
back and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I don't do that stuff. They cut their grass a quarter inch tall. I cut my grass 4 inches tall,
Yeah,
things like that. So
exactly. How high can I adjust the lawnmower? That's how high I cut
exactly.
it.
But my biggest peeve, though, with all this YouTube stuff, though, it has to be when a guy will call me up, and Jim, you've probably heard this too. Hey, can you look at that generator and tell me this? Well, the video's 7 years old. You're like, yeah, that's in the landfill now. It's like they'll ask you about a question about something you worked on
Yeah.
7 to 10
Yeah.
years ago, and you're trying to remember. And we do remember things. Don't get us wrong. But if someone says, "Can you check this on that?" It's like, but that was a customer piece of equipment that I
Well,
did 7 years ago.
yeah, and sometimes you get questions too. It's not only old, but it's asking you, "Hey, how is this done?" It's
Mm,
like, "Well, when I worked on it, I didn't work on that portion of it, so I never looked at it. I
yeah.
can't tell you that answer."
Mm. Another good comment for Jim. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Harbor Freight and other similar. Oh, okay. EFA. Yeah, I've never worked on one of those. Yeah,
Harbor Freight two-stroke clones. Yeah, I didn't know it was an EF 800. That's really
interesting.
good information.
Yeah, interesting. Let's see. Yeah, saying when the thing finally works, like catching the Hail Mary. Yeah, really. There's sometimes I'll be honest with you. There's times when you're working on something, whether it be an engine or whatever, and you're like, please God, please just work. And honestly, how many times, and I've
Well,
had it numerous times where I deliver it to the customer and he's happy and I don't know what the hell I did.
yeah, and you second guess no matter what. You second guess yourself. Like
Yeah.
the one I'm working on right now,
Hey,
it
sweetie.
had tremendous blow by. I'm like, there
Yeah,
has to
you
be
showed us.
something
Yep.
wrong with the
Yep.
rings. There has to be.
Yeah.
Did a leak down test, 5% leak
I
down.
know. And then when you
Did
told
a
us what was
compression
wrong,
test.
I was like, get
It
out of
was
here.
perfect. Leak
Yeah.
down test, compression test, perfect. So now I'm like, am I tearing this engine apart
For nothing. Yeah.
and I'm going to find nothing?
Yeah.
But I did find something. So you'll
Now
see.
that's upcoming, right? That's gonna be an upcoming.
Yeah, I'm waiting on parts. It's kind
Okay.
of,
Yep. Yep.
it's all disassembled. I have 3 boxes of EU 2000 parts.
Goes for straightness. Yeah. Spitfire, it's still, we're still like going, who knows? What was the smoking gun and all, who knows? I mean, I'm a, precision machine guy, so I think of a precision ground flat thrust washer versus porous cast iron and plastic. So I went
Yeah.
for the thrust washer, and to Jim's
It
point, you're still meshing, you're still getting
You
it.
are, but this is the thing. The governor I pulled out looked perfect. There
Yeah.
was no visible sign of damage.
Oh, I had a
All
question
the
for you on
weights were
that
there.
video. I had an
Yep.
actual question. When you were working on that governor shaft and you
Yep.
had the plate turned over, okay,
Mhm.
did you measure the distance where that shaft was, upper or lower?
No, what I did was I just looked on the underside and could see roughly where it was. But the thing is, so there's 2 variables. The thrust washer is one of them, but when I drove the shaft in,
Yeah.
I drove it in without looking up exactly how it
There's
had
a
to be
height
set.
number. There is a height number in the
And
manual from the plate, from the end plate, your end cover,
yeah.
that mounting surface where the gasket goes to the top of the hat.
Right, and that I did not look up. So what I ended up doing with the new governor was I put the washer on, I put the governor on, I saw where the groove was for the
Yep.
hog ring,
Yep.
and I just drove it down so that there was a little bit of play, but not
Yeah.
not so much that it would interfere with its
Yeah,
operation.
because you have
So
no way of checking no, I take that back. You could have put your camera in after with a dry fit and seen if it was meshing
how
properly
well it
and
was
all that.
meshing,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
See,
Oh, I
that's the
gotta ask you
thing.
too, privately, what camera you've got, because you've got the triple angle, or what's yours? Do you have 2 angles that it
It,
does?
it's no, it has 3 lenses. I only use
Okay.
2 of them because the other one is too zoomed in.
Yeah, yeah.
But they have better ones where they articulate.
Yeah, I
You
saw
can
the one where the
control
guy's
it.
looking up and he's
Yeah.
looking, "Oh," I'm like, "What is that?" Yeah.
Yeah, that is probably more appropriate. This is more like for HVAC or, it has
Okay.
like a 20-foot cord. It's not really automotive or
Yeah.
small engine.
I think Tom in Australia has the one that does that, like a snake. Because
Yeah.
all of a sudden he's going in, he's going through the oil, then he's looking up
Yeah.
at the thing, and I'm like,
He does like a 180-degree turn like that.
exactly, yeah,
That I could have used.
yeah.
That in this
But
case
those
would
are
have
three,
worked
four
better.
hundred bucks. Those aren't $10
Yeah.
Vevor.
Yeah.
So anyway,
But Vevor probably has one.
they probably do. Yeah. Hey, everything's coming down in price. Who knows?
Yep.
Let's see. Hold on, Jim. What do we got here? Magnetics. Yeah, but when I was at Jim's
Yeah.
place, no, he's pretty methodical though. He'll put it in like the air filter cover or something. They're not just strewn all over the place. Yeah.
No. And in fact, the EU 2000 I just took apart, I have a bunch of Ziploc bags. Either I put the bolts back where they go, or to Ken's point, I put the bolts with the piece. I mean, a lot of times I'll just get a sandwich bag and write on it, exhaust, manifold, bolts. Throw it in the bag, throw it in the box, and then, in a month when the parts arrive, I have a chance of figuring out where all the stuff goes.
Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Oh, there's our friend Joe Bean. Hello, Joe. How are you? He's probably gone by now, but hello and goodbye.
Yeah.
What else? I'm heading up toward the middle. All right, and all right. Oh, Brett's here too. Hello, Brett. How are you? Oh, someone's in the basement. Who's in the basement? Oh, our buddy's in the basement. Hello, Arch.
Hello.
What's up, everybody?
How are you?
How you doing?
Oh, I'm just texting my daughter. Hold on.
That's all right. Let me go down the bottom of the
I
chat.
figured I'd stop in and say hi. I don't want to interrupt her or anything.
How long you been in the basement? I didn't notice.
Not long. Not long.
Because this Restream, the only thing I love Restream, don't get me wrong, but Restream, unlike StreamYard, Restreamer would go ding, and someone's at the door, and I could go down. This doesn't do it, so I have to look at the person icon and see if the number changes. So that's a little different. So Restream, if you're watching, put a bell on it or something, just so I know when.
Yeah, really. So far, it seems to work good. I kind of like it. I mean, I've tried it a few times.
Yeah.
I'll do it again soon.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it.
It does seem to be very good. I think the only thing I like better about the other service was that has a little better graphic display when you put the questions up.
Oh, I could change that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I'll show you. Hold on.
James, have you tried it from the other end, from hosting?
No, actually, I never host, so I wouldn't even know what to do.
Nice. You should try it.
That's what Ken is for.
Ken's
he knows how to host. He does a lot of live streams.
He's good.
Let me see what I got here for options, because they just introduced a lot of options here on what we can. So I mean, I could change us. I mean, I could go badink. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I can do with us. Where's the comments section? Hold on.
Yeah, throttle open, throttle close. So you're talking about Steve's video? Because that was a 2-stroke. I think 4 strokes might be a little different as far as whether you need the throttle open or closed. So I think Steve's point was you would get the air through the exhaust, right? On a 2-stroke, but on a 4-stroke, you're not going to get that.
Yeah. The only thing I have to add about compression testers, and I'm going to step on my soapbox for 1 minute. The Schrader valve is the most important thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
tester.
it is.
Good luck getting one.
Yeah, when you have a compression tester, you want that Schrader valve to mimic the spark plug electrode. You want it to be right there in the chamber like a spark plug.
Right.
If you have an adapter, like for example, 10 millimeter spark plug, a 14 millimeter compression tester, that adapter has volume. And that volume adds into your combustion chamber, and you're going to get a lower reading. Saying that, if you have the Schrader valve in the end of the compression tester that screws into your cylinder, here's the thing. I don't care if the hose going from that is 1 inch long or a mile long. The only difference is the amount of times you have to pull it.
Yes. Okay. And it doesn't matter if your throttle's open or not.
It's called equilibrium. Okay, you could pull it, or like Jim's got that clutch he bought, put the drill out. Once it stops, once it reaches equilibrium, that means the pressure to the front of the Schrader valve equals the pressure to the rear of the Schrader valve.
Yep.
That's all you're going to get, folks.
That's something too. A lot of people, myself included, when I first started, did not realize.
Yeah.
And you would test an engine, a big engine, like a lot of stuff I work on is 13 horse,
Mhm.
and it didn't matter what compression tester you used. But then
Yep.
you throw it on something like a weed whacker or a chainsaw that you know is good, and it comes up with 25 psi, and you're like, wait a minute, what is wrong with this? So, yeah, people don't realize if you have a 40cc engine and you add a compression tester without that valve, that hose might be adding 20 or 30 cc's
There you go.
that the piston can't compress. So
Yep.
you're never going to get a good compression reading.
That's the only comment I had on those compression tester videos. People never talked about equilibrium and the Schrader valve. So just wanted to throw that out there.
They also
All
don't
right.
talk about the Schrader valve itself. Snap-on used to sell the Schrader valve,
Well,
which you
different
can't
spring
get
rate,
anymore.
different
Yep.
spring rates. So
That
yeah,
makes a
definitely.
difference
It
too.
does. It does.
I need another Schrader valve. Like I've got these two beautiful gauges that have kind of like beat Schrader valves. And
Yeah.
what am I going to do with them?
I can get them.
Can you?
Yeah. I can get 'em. No. But I would get them from Schrader. You know,
You got to
directly
get
from
the
Schrader.
right. What is the pressure point on it? Did you know exactly like what that cracking point is?
Well, we could figure it out. Just take a regulator with a huge dial gauge. You could read down
that
to
sounds
lower
like
pressure
work.
and see where it cracks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's a video, Arch. Go ahead. There you
I
go.
know. I know.
All right, let me look back in these comments, see what else we got here.
Now
Hey,
I got to think.
those that don't know Arch's Garage, great channel. If you're into Simplicity Sunstars and all kinds of stuff like that, he's out in Long Island. And Saturday night, he has a live chat, usually around 8:30, 9 o'clock Saturday night.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Not recommended for children usually,
Right.
but a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's not family oriented. It's really for the fellas.
But put
It's
it this
for the
way,
fellas.
it's almost like the unexpurgated small engine group.
Yes.
Okay.
It's what you can say that you can't say, but you can kind of say it. You didn't say it earlier.
After hours, we call it.
Yeah, it's the after hours show. It's mostly related to small engines.
It is, but we have a good time though. Yeah, Art sometimes throws some
script
zingers. He'll throw zingers in there.
Yeah, we like to go off script a little bit.
We do, yeah, but we have fun. We do have fun. All right, what else we got in the chat here? Let's see.
Well, because I do this all the time, so I need a break. Otherwise, you'd see Arch really crazy. You know.
Rodney's thanking you guys for your generator work. Cool.
Good show so far, fellas. I'm really enjoying it.
We had one guy who was pissed because I was asking all the questions, but you know what? Hey, it's my
he's
channel.
Not pissed. He's just saying.
My channel.
Yeah, you could do whatever you want. I often say, like, Ken will say to me, "Why don't you come up on Saturdays?" Like, no, Saturdays I watch you. That's what I do. I don't want to be up. I want to watch
Arch
you
likes
and the
to
fellas.
watch me in the Hollywood Squares every Saturday.
Yeah, and the Hollywoods. I was going to steal a pic of that. I got some back footage, back behind the stage footage of the Hollywood Squares back in the day.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to have to do something with that. Yeah.
Oh, but, I love the old Hollywood Square.
It was good stuff, but I like watching you guys.
It's back on TV now.
Really?
Yeah, it was on last night.
Know.
There's a black guy. He's the host, a nice guy. He looks like an ex-football player or something. And with all but you know what it is? It's the current celebrities, like the baby, the pop stars and all that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, the original was the best.
Oh my God, Paul
awesome.
Lynn. I could watch Paul Lynn all day. Anyway.
Oh yeah. I was watching some footage of it the other day. I was laughing.
Let's see. Yeah, because Paul Lynn, I'll never forget the one. He goes, according to Ann Landers, what's the one thing you don't say when you're in bed with a new man? Or what's the two things you don't do? Point and laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh,
and the funny thing, quick.
But it was clean. It wasn't dirty. It wasn't vulgar.
And they were quick.
Yeah, it was. It was fun. Let me look at the questions. What else do we have?
Well, you do some funny stuff, Ken. You say things on a Saturday sometimes. I'm on the floor.
But I'll be honest with you. One of my best friends who passed away, God rest his soul, Michael Bennett, good friend. In fact, he sold me my first tractor 25 years ago that caused all this crap that I'm doing now. Okay, he owned an International Harvester Cub Cadet 107. I bought it from him. He was like that. I'd say something, boom, he'd come back with the comment. You know what I mean? And I learned it from him.
Wow.
He was always quick with it, and the comment, always sarcastic. I don't care what it was, always sarcastic. But I love the guy, and I miss him dearly.
But clean, right? I like the cleaner end of things. Like on the edge, but not foul, not not too offensive or anything.
It's funny. We're on your stream the other day, and one of your friends comes on and talks about Hemi under glass, and I'm like, well, I got one better. Did you see when Jay Leno flipped it?
Yeah, that was great.
whatever.
I had
So
to pull that though. I
yeah.
got in trouble for that.
I know. Well, what
I
is
was
the rule now, Jim? Do you know what is it? 11 seconds, Arch? Do you know what is the rule
It was
about?
something like that. But I did it again though. We
Oh,
enjoyed
did
it so much I
Yeah.
replayed it.
I did that with Saturday
Yeah, I
Night
don't know what
Live
the
one
rule is.
time. I
It's a
played
few seconds.
It used to be 11 seconds. You could do music or
Yeah.
video clip 11 seconds or less. They wouldn't copyright strike you. They wouldn't take your money away. It was fine. Now it's like 5 seconds.
Yeah, they blocked me, but there was no offense though, because I'm pretty.
No.
When I push the edge, so when they tell me you know it's blocked or a no, I just back off and I remove it.
Yeah. Let's see.
You know, so I don't have any strikes on my channel or anything.
I used to put music in my videos occasionally,
What
like
a
free to
horror.
use music, and then I started getting strikes because there was some screw up in the licensing, and I just won't do it ever since. It's just the system is so broken.
It is broken. That's why I said to Ken, like I played some guitar a little bit the other night, and I'm like,
I tell you, I was going to get my big lighter.
That was too funny. I was like,
well, man, I don't know about you guys. Arch and I are the same age. I think he's a year younger than me. But when I went to concert years ago, you had the big lighter.
We all did.
Yeah, you know.
I know James is like what 10 years younger. I don't know, James.
Yeah,
You
he's 10
could have
years younger
done
than
the
us,
big lighter thing though when you.
Oh yeah. It's weird when you go now and you see everyone holding up their phones. I'm like, where are the lighters?
Yeah, now it's phones. Yeah, they're holding up their phones. Yeah.
I know.
Oh my God, it is funny. But it's funny though
They
because
think they're recording something in the nosebleed section like this, right? You didn't capture anything but a blur.
Yeah, but it's funny, guys our age now, we're watching our bands that were our favorites. They're 80 years old.
I know.
You know, oh my God. The Rolling Stones, 83 years old. It's like,
I know. God bless that some of them are still out there though, but it's not easy. Rock and roll, some of the heavy stuff, like you can't do that when you're 60, 70, 80.
Hey, Paul.
Let's see. What was this here? White noise? Was this? YouTube was even matching white noise?
Really?
One
I didn't know that.
Matching.
What is that? What do you mean?
I love it. Whenever I run an engine, it always says applause. That's YouTube's translation.
Oh, okay.
Tyler, if you want to come up, I'll put the link out there. There's the link, Tyler, if you want to come up. That's Married with Small Engines. That's Tyler.
Hi, Randy.
Oh, yeah. Maybe
if you want to come up, come on up.
Steel. What is it, a two-stroke generator?
What are we looking at? Did I not grab the comment? Where are we?
Hey, Paul.
It's right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Steel has been testing, teasing us with generators. Yeah, but is it U.S. or is it foreign, Tyler? Well, you're Canada, so you get different stuff than we do.
I bet they're just Honda clones like everything else.
Well, no. What are the brands? There's 2 or 3 brands over in Europe that they use. I'm trying to think. There's like push mower brands that they private label and things like that. But I know Canada, even on chainsaws, you guys get some different models than we can get. You know, you definitely have some different.
Yeah, I missed that live show of Tarrel's earlier. I'm just so busy. I really haven't even sat down.
He didn't announce it.
Oh, that's good.
All of a sudden, I got a notification. I'm a moderator on Terrell's channel, so I was like, "Oh crap!" So I went on there and
it seemed like it was up your alley when I stopped in for like 10, 20 minutes maybe, and he was doing something with chains on.
Yeah, he had a chain from raw stock and explaining, you know, three rivet divided by 2. You know, the standard.
That's good.
Yeah, how to do a chain. Jim, why don't you use impact sockets on your impact wrench?
Sure. I guess I do for the larger ones, but for the smaller ones, it really, I guess first off, I don't have any smaller ones, you know, like 8 millimeter, 10 millimeter.
I mean, does it really matter?
But
it's lightweight stuff.
The amount of torque that's being applied, it's not a lug nut on a car. You know, it's not going to break the socket. I've never broken a socket.
Now that you said that.
Well, I do have a crack in my 10 millimeter. It's going to fail one of these days.
Wait. What do you mean your 10 millimeter? I have 16 of them. How many?
Yeah. You have all of them.
I have 2 sockets that are 10 millimeter.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it? I've lost more than that.
Yeah.
You know?
I've got 2 wrenches that are 10 millimeter. No, I actually lost my 7 millimeter, which is kind of weird because I never really use it, but it went missing.
I got a guy who's texting me saying I need a quote.
For what?
Right?
I don't know. And then he's telling me I'm blocked. I don't know who this guy is.
It's probably just wants your credit card.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know. Are we going to get snow tomorrow, fellas? I don't know.
Dusting. They're saying dust. I'm going, you know me. I go to breakfast every Saturday and Sunday.
I know. You don't care.
Then I do my small engine work. Hey, the Dodge is all set. Fluids,
Nice.
hoses, brakes,
Nice.
lines, it's all set. So I told him I'll drive because he goes, "What if it snows?" I said, "Then we're doing donuts."
Yes, then we're
Right?
doing
Yeah,
donuts. I'm
that's it.
trying to sell a snowblower, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
There's just no market.
Yeah, let me see what the weather says now. But they
Not going
said
to
a
happen.
dusting. Someone said up to 1 inch, but I doubt it. Let's see. Right now, they say snow starts 5 a.m. 25%. That's it. That's all I got. Yeah,
That's
5 in the
the
morning.
Yeah.
25, yeah, so we're not gonna get. Now you
Yeah,
are
it's
coming your way because you're below us.
Yeah.
80 miles or whatever.
Yeah, but I'm also warmed by the Atlantic.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
yeah. It also seemed like there was going to be a kind of a hole or a break in the snow, kind of in the New York City area. So I don't know
Yeah.
what you guys are going to get, but who knows?
I'm just hoping it triggers a sale. I just want to get rid of it. I
Yeah,
mean, it's a beautiful machine, but we haven't had any market for it up here. It's
I
Yeah.
know.
horrible.
I only fix like one snowblower a year because I can't do anything with it once I fix it
Yeah.
except give it away.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with generators for me, James. They've
Yeah.
upgraded our power out here. The county I used to live in, they did it years ago, and then I moved out east further, more towards the Hamptons and stuff. But since I've moved out here, they have upgraded the entire infrastructure out here as well. So we don't lose power generally, and it's so expensive to live here that even if we did, that's when people will be looking for a generator. That one time. So it's kind of, I like working on them, and same thing with snowblowers, but there's just no wood to put them when I'm done working on them.
Yeah. That's the
Jim,
thing
what
too.
That's
is
your
a
Go ahead
problem.
again.
Mac
Well,
Max?
generators, they are hard to sell. I mean, they are very hard to sell. If you happen to have a bunch of them and there's a power outage, you're going to sell them
Oh,
Yeah.
like in
Same thing with snowblowers.
24
Yeah.
hours. They'll all be
Yep.
gone.
Yeah.
What? Hey, Jim, what is this? I've never heard of that brand before. Max
Speeding rods. Yeah,
What is that?
I did do a video on one of those once. It's just a they actually
Inverter?
sell a lot of car parts, like performance car parts, but they do have generators
Is
as
it an
well.
inverter? Is it an inverter?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they only sell inverters.
Okay. Interesting.
James, what's your favorite generator in like the
God.
5,000-6,000 range, watt range? Like, what would you say if you were to fix one and keep it?
Yeah.
What would you keep?
There's really, for a Honda EU 6500, it's an inverter. That's what I use. But the other one, for a more simple one, would be like the what is it, Gen Pro by Gillette. Has a V-twin Vanguard engine, very low harmonic distortion for a non-inverter, like 5 or 6%, which is excellent. Most of the ones that I test are complete garbage, as far as
You did
power
one, I
quality
think, a few
goes.
videos back, Jim. 27%. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
The
the
sine wave.
Power
The
Mate
sine wave
Pulse.
didn't even look like a wave. It was
Yeah,
like,
that was the Power
Yeah.
Mate Pulse. Those are bad. But I mean, that's the thing. Even the good ones that they sell today, it's like 20, 22, 23. They're not much better.
Yeah.
Right. Now, as another part to this question, which I think a lot of people would appreciate this as well, a lot of us are going to solar power assisted battery, etc. And we're trying to fit this into our shops or our homes or whatever. So one needs to be careful with what backup generator, they tie into that. So let's say you're overwhelmed. It's, you still want to use your stuff. It's dark. You're not going to get solar, but you got your batteries. You need to recharge. Maybe you're going to use a generator. And you don't want a big one, same kind of 5 to 7,000 watt family. What would you recommend? I kind of wanted to ask this question as well earlier when Gary was here as well, just to have his input. But I know you'll satisfy it as well. So let me shut up. And
It's really anything that has low THD. So I mean, I actually have a playlist, low THD traditional generators. There's probably like 10 or 12 that I've tested over the last 5 years. There's not many. So
right.
it's really, if your equipment is expensive and you care about it, you want to use a low THD machine.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're going to have a problem. You probably won't.
Yeah.
But certain things,
Jim,
especially
who set
HVAC equipment.
that threshold at 5%? Is that a national standard, or who set that number?
Yeah, I think it's more what the utilities are allowed to provide. So
Okay.
It's usually about 5%. So even on the 120 volts, I mean, they can deliver 127, no problem, 113, no problem. If you call them and complain, that their response is likely going to be, it's within the standard. We're
Yeah.
allowed to deliver plus or minus 5%. And same thing for Hertz, and same thing for THD. It's just kind of a guideline. If you're running 6%, is it going to destroy things? Probably not. If
Yeah.
5% is safe, then 6% probably is too. But it's just a standard that someone put out there to say, yeah, 5%, you'd probably be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Is 10% bad?
Mhm.
Maybe not.
Champion generator question, Jim.
Opinion of champion generator. Okay. Champion is better than most as far as the company goes, but it's the same Honda clone type engines, the same type of generators. They're not. I haven't tested one yet that I would consider clean. So it's really no different than a Generac or a Durostar or Duromax or whatever the brands are. Even the Briggs and Stratton use Chinese clones now. They're all the same. They're just rebranded. There's Caterpillar generators. The same thing. It's the same generator as the Generac, or the Champion. I'm sure Champion won't like me saying that because they do have customizations, remote start or, different options that their competitors don't have. And actually, Champion's a standout in that they actually monitor on some of their models. They actually monitor the output. So if it starts putting out 150 volts, it'll shut itself down. If it's coming out at 70 hertz or 50 hertz, it'll shut itself down.
Yeah, that is
Most
nice.
portable generators will not do that. And when AVRs fail, they either stop working or they go to full power, which is 170 volts. And it'll just it'll just run. Yeah, it'll just run. And if you don't notice it, which you probably won't, it's going to cook things.
Yep.
Degreaser. I still like Simple Green. I've used Dawn dishwashing liquid. I mean, Jim used to use the Harbor Freight liquid. Then it turns out they changed the formula. So
yeah, the Harbor Freight stuff is like acid now. The Simple Green is good, and Simple Green Pro HD. Both of those are very good.
Jim, do you ever use containers? I use like peanut butter jar containers sometimes, or mason jars, depending. Like if I'm doing a cube carburetor, I'll actually take two-stroke fuel, put the cube carburetor in the mason jar or peanut butter jar, put that into the water bath and ultrasonic it that way because I don't want to get water or any water base in the cube carburetor.
So what do you do? Straight Simple Green?
No. Two-stroke fuel.
Two-stroke fuel. Okay.
And he vibrates that in the container.
I vibrate that.
Got it.
Container in a container.
It makes sense.
Yeah, you can do it
that makes sense because Simple Green, regular Simple Green is pretty harsh. Like if you leave it in there for more than 10 minutes, you're going to see problems. So yeah, if it's a cheap, easy to get carb, I'll use Simple Green. If it's a carb you cannot buy, I will use either dish soap or Simple Green Pro. But again, I won't leave it in there that long.
See the cube carburetors I found that have the check valves with the fabric, I don't want to use a water-based anything on that because I don't want to trap the water bubble or anything in there. So I'll put a two-stroke mix in there with the fuel that I use, close it, put it in there. The weight of it usually, as long as you get all the air out, I use mason jars with the rubber tips, rubber seals, and it fills to the bottom.
It makes sense. I mean, any carb I clean too, I usually get it back together and get gasoline in it and get the engine started as soon as possible because I want to get through any residual cleaner that's in there or water, just get it out.
I don't think Jim knows the brand of his table.
I don't. Yeah, it was given to me. There's no branding on it. It looks like a red line. So if you go to Redline's website,
a friend of mine has a red line. He says it was. Yeah.
It looks like a red line, but I don't know because there's no branding. It might be a clone.
But yours is nice because it's big. It'll take a tractor.
It will.
Let's see. What's this here, Tony? What are we doing? Marketing here, Tony? What's going on? System stuck float pin. It's funny.
Is it a center punch?
I never. No. But I never forget your video where the damn stanchion broke off. And you're like, oh, crap.
That was awesome.
I'm watching you do it, and I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. Ding.
I was so confident because it started to move. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm home free.
Uh,
And those arms were like twice as thick as
Yeah,
like the Makunis that always break. I'm like, this one's not a problem. And it broke. And the thing that was even worse is I don't know if you watch Two Vintage, but
oh, absolutely. Oh, I found a new guy.
he
I found a new guy.
he did
Yeah.
that video using the center punch
Yep.
after I broke that, but I released the video after he showed how to do that. And I'm like, I got so many comments like, yeah, they use the center punch.
If
I
I
found-
may, fellas, take a pair of diagonal cutters, just grip the end of
And like
the
Yeah.
sticking out, and then
Yeah.
tap that thing with the hammer. Okay, tap the cutter.
The
You know,
cutter,
you just kind of nip in it,
Yep.
and then you tap the cutter in that direction away, and it just pulls right out.
Okay.
There's a new
No
channel I
stress.
found,
And of
Jim.
course, a little lubricant and everything on, you know, the little things that stanchions that stick up. But two-stroke, or I use my tranny fluid mix.
Jim, this guy that I found, he's just as good as Two Vintage, but he's not older. He's probably in his 40s in Vermont. I'll find it. Hold on.
All right. Send me it.
Let's see. Who is this? Tony, if you want to email us, send us a picture of what you have, and I guess we'll go from there. But let's see what you're talking about first. Here's another one for you, THD.
Any idea? I don't know. And to be honest, I've never tested a non-inverter Honda that was low THD. I've never tested, actually, as an EM 6500, is that an inverter? It might be. I got to look that one up.
I'm trying to find this guy. When I find it, Jim, I'll send it to you. But this guy, he's just like Two Vintage, but he's a little bit older, and he's in Vermont. But it's all about ATVs, ATCs, snowmobiles, things like that.
I love that stuff. I wish we had. I mean, we do have that stuff around here, but it's not. I mean, he must have.
This
I mean,
guy's
he
got
lives
a
in a different
boneyard
part
in
of
his
the country,
backyard,
you know?
Jim. He's probably got
Yeah.
150 of them in his
Yeah.
backyard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So yes, sorry. Getting back to the EM 6500, it's a traditional generator. Honda generators that are traditional, I don't think are clean, but I haven't tested that one.
Let's see.
V block generators.
Over force. Is there any two?
Yeah, talking about like a V twin.
Yeah. it's
So, yeah, I mean like the Vanguards, the Generac V twins. Most home backup, just like stationary generators, are two-cylinder. Portable generators, you don't see that as often. But Generac does have them, and there's some Vanguard. There's some Honda ones out there too, actually.
Here's the
I
guy,
just
Jim.
worked on an EX5500. Okay, I'll check it out.
He is Two Vintage in 15 years.
Yes.
But he's up in Vermont, so it's all snow and snow machines.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Let's see here. What do we got?
What do you mean the inverter might not want to use it? Oh, the
Yeah.
inverter on the battery charger? Inverters are very stable.
This kind of goes to, I guess you could say, in a way, to the question I asked you earlier. So if you want to vamp on that a little bit, because people are trying to connect these different things, you know, to a generator now, and
Yeah.
things have
Yeah, but
changed.
is he saying he's got like a not shit, but he's got a standard way THD generator. He wants to put it to an inverter to get a cleaner, better output.
AC input on an inverter. Yeah, so I think he's talking about an inverter for the battery charger versus an inverter generator. I could be reading that wrong. But yeah, traditional generators and charging like battery banks, you know, the electronics, the inverter that charges that battery bank, they are very sensitive and very particular on the input AC. I've had people reach out to me with similar problems. And the other thing is too, a lot of those inverters, AC inverters, they also have a lot of inductors in it. And people will be like, I need, you know, my inverter battery charger is only 20 amps, and I bought an inverter generator that does 25 amps, yet the inverter generator can't power it. and they're not taking into account the inductive loads, the power factor less than 1, the surge associated with it. Like, you always want to way oversize what you need. Like, if you need 4,000 watts, don't buy a 4,000 watt machine. Buy a 6 or 7,000 watt machine.
Yeah.
Or you're going to run into trouble.
I know a lot of times I
Northstar.
caution people on, like, they might want to take their inverter power head, right, their power unit, and they've run it down. And traditionally, you would bring it someplace and plug it into AC mains and charge it back up. But if the power is out, they're thinking, well, can I plug this thing in my Evo super battery output thing or whatever brand is? Can I just plug it into my generator and recharge the battery that's in there and use the outputs on my, on that device? My suggestion is no. I would not really do that if you don't know the equipment that you have, because you talk about sine waves versus half wave versus full wave. You don't know what the harmonic distortion is. If you don't know your generator well, it could be bad practice to do that. You could wind up blowing out very expensive pieces of equipment. So people need to start to learn this. And that's why you're a good resource for that, because you're already in this field.
Well, the thing is, too, it's easy to measure the hertz and the voltage. The harmonic distortion, that's an expensive tool.
Yeah, how much was that years? About $300?
That one was probably about 400, but that was after years of looking. Like, most of the THD meters, if you go out there and just Google it, they're $2,000 or more.
Yeah.
They're not cheap, and even the one I have,
what, like Fluke and stuff, or what?
Yeah. Fluke is a good example. They make something called a power analyzer. It's a huge device that a professional would use, but that's easily $2,000 plus. And that's one of those things I looked at for years. Like, I can't justify that just to get 10%. Get a number.
Right. Yeah.
It just seems like it was too much. So the one that I use, it measures the harmonics up to the 25th harmonic. The nicer ones will go up to like the 50th harmonic.
Wow.
But for generators, most of the noise is close to 60 hertz. They're in multiples of 60. So every time you get another 60 hertz away, the amount of power being put out at 120 hertz versus 240 hertz, it just goes down. So there's very little being output past like the 10th harmonic.
It's funny how you talk about that. When we used to do balancing and vibration for machine tools, once we hit the 4th harmonic, it's like, this thing is perfect. Now you're talking 50th harmonic. I'm like,
you don't need to. You don't really need to worry about that for what we do.
You don't worry about for a crankshaft or something, Let's see.
Ken, hold on. Ken, put up the top 2 from Bass Guitarist, because it's very relevant. Before you pull away from this concept, if I may suggest.
What do you mean the top 2?
I put up 2 relevant. And let Jim, riff on that, explain it if needed.
Yeah, I mean, Gary knows this much better, but I will say a lot of electronics do accommodate a huge range. They're meant, they're built to be run anywhere in the world. So anywhere between 50 and 60 hertz, 100 volts to 240 volts, not a problem. I think where you get into the trouble is the THD and the stability. Like, the generator might be running at 63 hertz, and then you put a load on it and it drops to 57, or it's surging, or it's not a stable, consistent output. It's not going to like that.
All right, cool.
Let's see.
The Northstar question. So just to answer that, I do like the Northstar generator. I wish I got to test the V twin. So I did locate another Vanguard V twin. So there is going to be a repower video on that at some point. But the Northstar one's made well. I think my only complaint is it is so wide and so massive. They could have made it a little bit more compact. And the other thing I like too is they have a drain on the tank. So you can drain it easily. Yeah, when you're not using it, but at the same time too, I don't trust those cheap valves. Yeah. So at least if the valve fails, you have the carburetor needle that hopefully will hold it back. But this drain, it's literally just a fuel valve and then nothing. So If you get one of those, I would just put 2 valves on it just to make
or a
sure you
cap.
don't lose. Yeah, yeah, or a plug, just
Yep.
something as a backup because those valves fail, and those have big tanks. I want to say
Yeah,
like
that's a lot of
10-gallon
fuel to
tanks.
dump.
Yeah, you don't want that on your floor.
Yep.
I'll be right back, fellas. Got to help with the dog. Hold
That's
on.
right. Sarah,
right.
I would
Mute.
start with the carburetor on that,
How
especially
do
if
I
it
mute?
starts and then stops.
Here we go.
But check for fuel supply too. Is it getting fuel into the carburetor?
Yeah, but that just stopped working. Primed it, started right away, then stopped. Carburetor clean. It's usually fuel related, I will say.
Yeah.
If
How
it just
old's the
stops,
fuel? I mean, you know.
give it a little spray of carb cleaner, starting fluid as it's dying. If it comes right back to life, you got a fuel problem.
Yeah, usually we'll flip the choke real quick, and if it keeps going for a
Yeah.
second, then you know.
Yep,
You know.
that's a good test.
Let's see what else we got here. I'm a little behind on the comments. Sorry about that. Let's see. Let's see. Subaru. I know we do get mad when things don't work out.
It does happen.
yeah.
I've broken a few.
Battery. What's Mike saying here? Hold on. Vermont Life. No. This guy here. I've seen Vermont Life, but this guy here I really like. Rocks Power Sport. See, I watch a kid named Two Vintage, and so does Jim. This kid is the nicest kid in the world. He used his YouTube money, bought his sister like a brand new Ford pickup. I mean, he's the nicest guy in the world. He's out Midwest. Him and his dad have these beautiful properties out there where they could ride quads and bikes. But he'll go out and say, "Oh, I just picked up a 1959 Jawa motorcycle. Hasn't run in 72 years." And he'll go all the way through it in an hour video, maybe a half hour, 40-minute, whatever. But he goes through everything. I mean, I've learned about slide carburetors, about what are the power valves in two strokes, things
Yeah.
that I would never find. And those that haven't seen it, Jim, what was that motorcycle you did, Jim?
The TTR 125.
Yeah. Now, Two Vintage has like 4 videos on it saying oh my God, these suck. I hate working on this. That.
Yeah.
And Jim goes but I'm saying,
And I get like the worst one you could possibly buy.
exactly. And then Jim gets one and makes it work beautifully. So it was kind of cool. But it's a great channel, Two Vintage, with this other guy, Rocks Power Sports. It's just that when you get
Yeah.
older like me, someone a little bit older talking, I could connect more with him than a kid who just, like every day. It's funny, like Two Vintage. Yeah, the dealer just sold me a $16,000 ATV for $8. And I'm like, what? Where the hell did you get that deal?
Yeah.
Things like that. And sometimes it's stupid stuff. He'll go through it. Oh, there's a wire broken off under 17 layers of electrical tape or something stupid. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
the spark plug that's got the piece of carbon in it or whatever.
He does a lot of engine work too. I
He
mean, he
does.
goes through those engines.
Yep.
He's a machine.
But that's what
you
this
know?
guy does. This
Yeah.
guy, he takes it all down. Really, really good. Good channel. All right, let me go through the comments again. Let's see what we got. If I haven't answered, or Jim or anybody hasn't answered, leave the question in the comments. We will be looking at them. If there's more questions in the next day or so, I can forward them to Jim and Gary. So feel free to ask the questions. Even when we're gone, put them in the comments. We try and get to it. I'm talking to these guys all the time. So we try and we like solving problems. I mean, that's why I do this stuff. I like solving problems. So to us, we have fun with it, All right, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Rocks Power Sports. Yep, that's the one. Yep, that's the one. Let's see what is Gary saying here. Oh yeah, you can use main power to charge the battery, but the UPS. Oh my God, we have issues at work with those things. Oh my gosh. Let's see. What is this here? Did you ever get anywhere with the engineer collaboration?
Oh, yeah. I've been trying to get that going again for a couple reasons. One,
What's the
so
AVR
answer
for,
is
Jim?
no.
What's it for?
This is for the EM 500, I think it was.
Okay.
I actually bought another EM 500. I want to make a video on, and I know as soon as I do, there's going to be a million questions. Where's that prototype board? And I've gotten some connectors that are compatible with the machine. I've actually done some Fusion 360, developed like the AVR case, and I was waiting for Bill. He's the one that reverse engineered it, but he's had a lot of things going on in his personal life. So he did give the okay to use someone else. I did reach out to someone else, and it's not quite clicking. So I might just do another video on this other EM500 and then see if anyone else wants to come forward to finish it up, because I'm not going to design the PCB. I do need someone else to do that.
Hey, kudos to your son for the Fusion 360 on that air filter cover. I like that.
He spent I can't tell you how many hours he
It looked
spent on that.
beautiful. It looked nice.
Yeah.
Did a nice job. Does he like playing with the 3D printing and all that?
He does. Yeah, he's
Nice.
got a resin printer and just a regular 3D printer, both entry level, but he uses them a lot.
You can get them at Staples now, $300. I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yep.
Harvey Spooner, another good channel for ATVs
Yeah.
and things.
I do watch Harvey, not as much as I used to, but he's a great channel.
Oh yeah, yep.
A lot of ATVs, and that's probably why I can't find any, because he buys all the ones in this area. He's somewhat in this area where I am.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Who's this guy here? Hold on. I meant an all-in-one. You would probably understand that better than me, Jim.
I'm still trying to understand it. So photovoltaic charger. I understand that because you have the solar panels on the roof. You do need a charger. It's really to charge the batteries. So it's an MPPT controller most likely, but the inverter is what you have connected to the battery bank to supply output to your house or whatever it is you're doing. So yeah, so I guess that's what he's talking about when he's saying, can they pass through and charge the batteries? You can put mains voltage into those things. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this kind of goes to, again, that other thing that I mentioned earlier. Like, this is the kind of stuff people they're wondering, like, can I put this in here and in there and into my
permanent Generac Kohler Haas units?
They were all regular generators, aren't
No, they're regular generators, but I think I don't test a lot of these machines, but usually the larger Generacs, the multi-cylinder generators, do run a lot cleaner than the stuff that I test. Stuff that I test is, built for a price. They're $800 generators, which is a lot, but they're not really that much. They're made with aluminum wire. They're cheaply made. The home backup units, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them are 4 or 5 times the price. They actually do use copper. They are better built in many ways. And THD, low THD on a lot of the home units is probably a fact. They are low THD.
Yeah, most of those are meant for all of that. Like, you can just look up on the manual too in the specification sheet and it'll give you all that information.
On the nicer ones, yeah. And if you can't find that information, then stay away from it. Chances are it's not low THD, or else they'd tell you that it is.
Yeah, don't buy it at Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tecumseh 2000. No, you can still get Tecumseh parts. Yep.
Yeah, Tecumseh parts aren't a big deal.
They're not bad. Remember, Tecumseh, even though they don't make engines, they still have the plants in Mexico and even US that make the parts. They still make parts.
Yeah, I get parts for them all the time. I like Tecumseh. I just worked on another one for this snowblower.
Yeah, I love Two Vintage.
Yeah, I've been watching him a long time.
Oh yeah. How do I compare what though? What are we comparing?
How do you compare it to a new Generac with low THD? Newer Generacs. So what's the thing though? Portable Generacs aren't low THD unless it's like the XG series. But all the other Generacs, unless it's an inverter, the portable ones are not low THD. And Generacs are expensive for what they are, I will say. They have excellent part support, probably one of the best out there, but you're paying for that. And that's something that you can go out and get the same machine from Champion for hundreds less. And I say the same, it's the same engine, the same generator, probably made in the same factory.
Look at this, 1% THD. That's pretty darn good.
Max speeding rods. Yeah, it's an inverter.
But 1%?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought they were
Yeah.
average like maybe 3 or 4. Yeah.
No, like most inverters are 2% or less.
okay.
Like that e-react one I tested recently, without a load, I think it was like 0.1%. It was ridiculous.
Let's see. Here's Randy, another good friend of the channel. Yeah, he does the depotting. It's pretty. He's got the whole depotting set. Yeah, yeah, with the heat gun, all that stuff. Hey, Brando's here. Hello, Brandon. How you doing? Let's see. Oh, here we go. Spitfire. Oh, pins.
Yeah, there's another good one coming up.
Yeah. So the Generac XL and EXLs, they have an AVR, but it's split. So part of the AVR is down in the generator, when you take the cover off, and the rest of the AVR is in the control panel. And there's a 3-wire connector that connects them. And what happens is those pins, especially the ones down in the generator, that's an older machine. It's probably 20, 30 years old. It's a little Molex connector with these tiny little pins that corrode. And eventually one of those pins will stop making contact and your voltage control will lose its mind, because it needs both of those boards talking to each other to work properly. Hey, Tom.
There's Australia. Australia. Good night, mate.
Oh, yes.
It looks so nice and warm there.
Yeah, wait. Tell us the temperature in Fahrenheit, Tom.
Oh,
See, this is how I stay warm here.
It's summer in Perth.
Oh, it's lovely. I don't know what it is in Celsius. Sorry, in Fahrenheit, but we're 32 Celsius. So someone.
Yeah, so it's
That's going to be like 80.
It's in the 80s, yeah. So, look at that, Perth,
lovely.
Australia.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah, it's warm. It's lovely out here.
Oh, it's been so cold and windy and miserable here.
Horrible.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
Just
Tom, where's the Villiers at? Oh, wait. Can you show us anything about the project we've been talking about? Can you show us anything?
The project.
Or do you want to wait till the
About
video?
what have we been talking about?
This one?
I've been looking at the piston rings.
Our friend Tom here, okay? Quick story. Tom and I talk all the time. We're good friends. All right.
That's cool.
So Vivor likes to send Tom shit. Try this, right? Oh, Kenny, mate, they want to send me a lathe. What the fuck am I gonna do with a lathe? This and that. Yeah. Now what do you say?
Yeah, he likes it.
Oh, I love it so much. Honestly, it's one of my favorite tools.
But his last project, Tom, what did you just make?
I made some piston rings. 1 second, he bought
a chunk of meionite iron and made some freaking piston rings.
It's impressive.
Nice.
So let me ask you this. The one thing I was wondering on the piston rings is, how do you know,
I can't figure it out.
Did you have to do a taper? Like how you do, like how many piston rings did you need to make? And did you have to put a taper on the inside of any of the rings?
No. So I made 2 rings. Actually, the first time I messed up. So this is the block of one of them, and I messed up I think it was the outer diameter. I can't even remember now. And then I got another block and started machining that, and it took me hours. And because obviously the mini lathe, there's a lot of vibration and.
Yeah, but let me ask you, Tom. Could you have gotten the meionite in tubing instead of solid?
Well, I did look into it, and the only place I could find meionite was England. And I was actually going back to England at the time. My camera seems flipped. Does everyone else's?
Oh, hold on. I'll correct it. Hold on.
My left hand.
Okay.
Wait a second. No, now wait. Wait.
Wait, do you have some writing on it? Where's some writing?
You got to flip him upside down. He's in Australia.
It says love. Oh, that's right. Yeah, your toilet.
Perfect.
That's right. His toilet goes backwards.
Yeah. It's all back to front. But so Kenny, in answer to your question, no, I can't find meionite tubing. They seem to just make it in short round bars for like model engines and stuff. People wanting to make their own machine. So yeah, it was great. It was good fun. It was a huge amount of time, huge amount of effort.
I bet.
It was a fun challenge. Sorry, what was your question, James?
About no, he's
Did
talking about if
I
you
was
look at
just
the
like,
inside of
what?
rings, some of them have different shapes depending on if it's a first ring, second ring, that kind of thing.
Right. So like the first ring, the inner part is tapered on the top of the ring, right? And then the second
Yes.
ring would be
Yes.
tapered on the inner bottom side.
Bottom as a
Yeah.
scraper. Yes. So on two strokes, of all the ones I've ever seen, they're always
It doesn't
just
matter.
a standard square. Yeah, they just got
Perfect.
one or two
Yeah.
compression rings. The trickiest thing, I haven't got the old rings to show you. I've thrown them out, but the trickiest thing is, I don't know if you can even bring photos up, Kenny. Can you? But they've got the ringland.
I could.
Yeah, they've got
You
the
want to text me?
ringland.
You want to text me something?
Oh well, I was just going to say, if you go into the WhatsApp group,
Yeah, I
I
could do
put
that.
pictures of where I notched the ringlands, and kind of, James, in a way, it's kind of the same sort of thing in that you have to modify the ring off the lathe by hand. But
Oh, right. So the locating pin.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And these just so happen to be like a rectangle, so I had to get a little hand file. I had to get all the measurements right, and
Oh my goodness.
yeah, it was a lot of faff, but it was rewarding. And I just need to fix the fuel system now because the carburetor's all messed up and the fuel tank's missing. So I bought a Briggs. Really hard to find this type of fuel tank. Oh, this is in the other room now, but
So you haven't fired it yet?
no, I've got the fuel tank. I just need to weld and machine a few things for it. But
It's a Villiers.
yeah, no,
Right? Villiers.
yeah, I think it's a 1950s Villiers. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a lovely machine, and it's obviously points and condenser, and everything runs great with it. But yeah, the fuel.
Well, now I know who to
tank
call when I need a set of rings.
Yeah, but it'll cost you $1,000 in shipping.
Yeah, it will cost $1,000, but
yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Let me just fuel tank. Oh, trying to make space, but
Yeah, because Tom and I were talking about temper and slow cooling in sand and stuff like that to get the right springiness and all that stuff.
right. I was
yeah,
wondering,
and,
like, how do you know how much spring to get? How do you know, is it going to expand the way you would think it's going to expand?
A
Yeah.
lot
Like,
of
is
it's
the
just,
end gap
just trial
okay?
and error. Yeah.
Or you just put extra end gap on there just to make sure?
I
least-
would do
Well,
that. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
yeah, there are, like, honestly, I'll go get my paperwork. I've spent hours researching, reading books,
Oh
going
my
onto
God.
forums. And the thing is, you can go on YouTube. There's a guy called Yesterday's Machinery. I'm sure you've all heard of him. Great guy, very, very smart. And he works on heavy, kind of huge, old school diesel machines.
See, this looks like when Tom calls me up, he goes, Ken, a little math for you.
Yeah. Can you calculate this for me? But anyway, for example, he does these hot bulb engines, like these old
Like
diesel
Stirling
engines.
engines and stuff. Yeah.
That's it.
Flame
And
liquor.
a lot-
Yeah, like flame liquors and stuff.
Yeah, and so obviously, I get clearances from there, and then I get, where's my little book? And you think, okay, well, that's all right, but it's not the same engine that I'm working on. Sorry, let me just, oh yeah, there. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll take that number and keep that in mind and have an idea as to what sort of temperatures they run at, find out how much cast iron expands at certain temperatures. And so over however many months, I've kind of drilled down to where I want numbers and specifications. So this is basically what I worked off here, like percentages. So for example, piston groove width, somewhere between 0.05 and 0.01. You can go slightly more than that. Groove depth is 0.004 mil per whatever. And so I calculated it all.
Yeah.
And essentially machined to those specifications. And it just so happened the second time doing it, it worked great. Like the first time, as I said, that I can't remember.
He actually showed me a little video of it running. I was like, wow.
Yeah. It runs on fuel
Very
down the throat,
cool.
but it doesn't. This carby hasn't got the slide is stuck, and it hasn't
I
got.
love
throttle
watching
on it.
machining. I don't know if any of you guys watch. I think it's called Jim's Automotive.
Oh yeah,
Love
Jim and
that
his son.
channel.
Jim and his son.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
was just
yep.
watching it earlier. In fact, I have it queued up. I want to watch something after this.
Yeah, he just did the 6-cylinder. It was the Kubota, I think, the 6-cylinder Kubota.
Ken, can you flip me?
Hold on.
Oh, that's so much better. Yeah. So yeah, it was fun. I want to
Cool.
try. I was talking, Kenny. You mentioned about machining at oversize, And that's another option that you can do. So this, once you've machined the ring to the right dimensions, you then, ideally, you'd cut it with a really thin disc, like 0.15, 0.2 mil, and then you've basically got your end gap. However, from there, you open the ring up 15% of the bore diameter, and you put something like a screwdriver, whatever's the right measurement, and then you heat it, and you have to heat it really carefully. I actually had to heat it twice because the first time it kind of lost its nice shape. But you run the risk of warping anytime
you just heated cherry red though, or what'd you do?
Yes. Yeah.
And then you did the sand quench?
I actually didn't this time.
Oh.
No, I didn't sand quench. I was going to, but I just heated it up. There's only one person I'd heard of that done it that way.
But no, I didn't. Air quench, just air quench.
Yeah, I got it cherry red, the whole thing, and then I turned the flame down, just gently let it come back down.
Because we had talked about doing the heating in a solid state versus cutting it and then doing it. Yeah.
Well, so the alternative that I want to try next is kind of on that principle, but you don't heat it at all. So you machine the outside and the inside diameters to slightly larger than what it needs to be. Mm-hmm. You then cut your end gap in 0.15, 0.2, whatever, and then you compress the ring to close it up, and then you machine it again back to the bore's diameter and the correct ID. Yeah. So then when you part them off, your rings have that natural spring in, and you don't risk. Yeah, exactly, preload. Yeah. So you don't risk the damage of heating it, stretching it, being slightly out of shape. Yeah. But it works. It's fine. I mean, it works great. It's just.
And now on that, the issue was bad rings, broken rings. What was the issue on that engine?
No, they were just worn, but they were still working fine.
Yeah.
Like, I have a
steel 015 that the temper of the rings is gone. They just have no spring tension.
Yeah.
The compression, there's nothing there. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I've had exactly that in the past. I had that with an old Briggs, and they didn't run enough oil in it, and you could see the temper had just gone. It wasn't sealing, and no, it was fun. And honestly, the other thing I come out to talk to you guys about, I repaired a customer's leaf blower, like simple 2-stroke engine. There's nothing complicated about it at all. And he dropped it off for a service because it was bogging. And I did the service, tuned it, everything was great. He got it back. He used it for a while. It started bogging again. He brought it back to me again. And I was like, this is so strange. So I did every check under the sun. And a couple of things I found were, it's got a catalytic converter, which I don't
in the muffler.
Like,
In the muffler.
Yeah, so I opened that up a little bit. I cleaned the spark screen. It wasn't terrible, but I cleaned the spark screen. And the barb that goes into, this is an interesting one I'll share in a minute, but the barb that goes into the carburetor has a little brass splined shaft, tiny, and then the plastic barb goes over that, and it was leaking slightly. So I took the plastic off, I cut away the splined intake barb, cut it flush, and then
was that for like impulse, or what was it for? For impulse?
Fuel.
Fuel.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just get the box out. So anyway, long and short of it is I repaired it, and I used some. Actually, I learned it from Tarrell. The seal oil. So I put a little bit of seal on there, and I put a new barb on there, and sealed it up. Everything worked great. He then gets it back, runs it for like an hour or so, and the same thing happens again. It starts to bog, and it's almost like the screws are moving. That's exactly what it's like. So it will.
There's no spring preload on the adjusters or whatever.
No, they've got a nylon insert on the screw,
okay. and to add the tension on the threads. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
And I said, look, I've done there's nothing you could say to me, have you done it, that I haven't done? Like, everything you could possibly think of. And I was like, there is nothing wrong with this machine. It's flawless. Everything about it is great.
Tom, did you put the screws at a certain position, run it for 10 minutes, then check and see if they rotated?
Yes, I did. And I did it when he was here as well. Okay. And I was like, I took a photo of it. I even put them in with Loctite. And I even scratched a mark. I was like, these are not moving. Yeah. But what would happen is he would guess it. It would run great when I had it. He would take it. He would use it for an hour or 2 hours. And then it would start to bog and it would start to run lean. It wouldn't start properly. And so he'd then... And you'd think, okay, well, maybe it could be like, it could be anything. It could be that the fuel filter maybe is failing. It's an aftermarket fuel filter. Maybe it's ingesting a bit of crap. I took the carburetor apart 3 times, nothing wrong with it. Got it back. adjusted the screws, it ran great, put them back to where they were, it kind of bogged slightly. And anyway, then I put, obviously at this point, I'd ran out of fuel, put more fuel in it and tuned it again. It runs great. Tried it the next day, runs great. Tried it the next day, runs great. Give it back to him, runs it for a couple of hours, and it starts to bog again. And I said to him, I said to him today, I said, there is absolutely nothing wrong with this machine.
What is the machine, Tom? Just again, what is the machine?
Echo PB250.
Oh.
And in America, you guys have a rotary carb, and they're known for kind of not holding a very good tune on that model. I mean, I love rotary carbs, but apparently that particular model, style, whatever, is not particularly good. The only thing I can think of is it's his fuel. And we've got great fuel out here. I know people say, "Oh, fuel out here is rubbish." We don't have any ethanol in here, like out here, and you know, it's great stuff. You can leave it for 6 months, a year. If it's sealed in a jerry can, it's great. Yeah, that's it. So the only thing I said to him today, I was like, look, the only thing I can think of is that it's your fuel. And he was like, yeah, well, look, I've had it for a couple of months, and it's kind of sat down. Yeah, but out here, the unleaded fuel.
Oh, you don't have ethanol. You don't have ethanol.
No, you could use it. You could leave the fuel we've got here. You could leave it for 6 months in the tank, and it would still run.
Okay.
But anyway, I said to him, look, the only thing that's changing, because what happens is it runs great. It starts to run lean after a couple of hours. And I think that's when he's run out with my fuel, puts more fuel in it, and then it starts to have the issue. But then he brings it over to me and it's still bogging when it's cold. Of course, if it's bogging when it's hot, it could be cold, could be plugged, could be a dodgy ground somewhere. It could be anything. Could be an air leak. But then all those things, when it cools down, apart from grounding, which is not an electronic issue in this case, it would resolve itself typically when it's cold, and then it starts to run rubbishly again when it's warm.
Well, put it this way: when it runs good cold and then shits out when it's hot, seals sometimes, right?
Yeah, but then when it's cold again, it still runs crap. And the only thing that's changing is the fuel. But it is literally like those screws are adjusted, but they're not. I've locked out them.
Well, let me ask you though: did you figure it out, or are you still?
Well, I just took it outside now, and I ran, and it runs absolutely fine. Like there's nothing I can do to get it to run like he has, but he brings it back and it runs like rubbish.
It's a hard problem to deal with.
Yeah, buy a battery one. Was a commercial guy too.
It's a little machine.
Yeah. Well, we think of those jobs where like the profit just went out the window.
I know, totally.
Yeah.
Wait, guys, before we go further, I just want to mention you were making those rings and everything, and I keep thinking back to my racing days with like low tension rings with gas porting the tops of the piston and letting the pressure do the work. And you know, you're at that point where you could fool around with all that stuff, you know, and have some fun. That your channel's even ready for it, I think. I mean,
you're
that goes over the heads of some people, but you're already making your own rings.
Yeah, the guy who didn't want the lathe.
Yeah, the guy didn't want it. I mean, I've been looking at some of these machines, and the slightly bigger ones, but even some of the ones that was like, you know, with the mill and everything, it's all compact.
Yeah, Tom needs a mill drill. That's what he needs.
Yeah. I've even been on Facebook poking around and stuff. I'm like, you're ready for that, like the 3-in-1 machine, you know.
Smithy, he needs a Smithy.
Yes.
But they're just it's expensive. But honestly,
I know.
I don't think my audience will particularly like.
I know, right? You got to be careful with that. Yeah. I know. I push the envelope and ruin my channel every week.
Oh no! You know.
Every week, it's something I do, and it's horrible. It's so easy. That's what I've been looking at. Yeah.
No, but those are under $2,000. The Grizzly.
I know some of them are.
Yeah, the Grizzly ones are
look closer.
Decent.
Look closer at some of those, though. Be careful with them.
I know.
Yeah,
no, but for a new machine, they're not bad.
I know.
But keep in mind, you guys don't know this. Tom, because him and I get freaking anal when it comes to precision. Okay, because remember, I used to work for More Tool, most precise machines in the world. Okay, Tom and I are talking when he bought this lathe. He's telling me how accurate it is. I go, Tom, that's shit.
Yeah.
Okay? No, seriously, he got this machine literally Tom, within a micron? I mean, you got it freaking tight.
Yeah, over the length of, I think it was about 10 centimeters. It was less than a micron.
Yeah.
And I'm using like I'm not messing around. I've got like $500-$600 Mitutoyo micrometers and stuff. I love it. I think, this is the thing, like with that Grizzly lathe, I would rather spend $6,000 and have something that's going to last me for years and years and
But
years.
I could
and
just
not have
see you
to,
with the grizzly taking it all apart, lapping the
don't
waves,
know if I'd
doing this,
want
doing,
to.
you know what I mean?
Well, that's the
Yeah,
difference between a 2,000
strafing.
grizzly and a 6 to 10,000 grizzly.
Yeah.
Same basic
Yeah.
size, right?
Yeah.
Maybe one comes with the VRO, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That is truly the difference. Is the build quality.
Yeah.
But you could even, Tom, with your popularity, especially down there, because you're at what, 27,000 now? Where are you at?
40?
Oh, no, I'm nearly 50.
Oh, you have 50.
Wow.
Oh my God! Holy shit!
40. I'm 46 and a half.
Wow,
So it should be a
holy
couple
crap.
months away.
Wow.
But Tom, you're even concerned about whether or not it's the right thing for your channel, right? So
Well, you could have a
that's
machining
tough
channel, then,
call.
little teeny machining channel.
Yeah, you could branch out.
Yeah, it's a different. I want to make videos that reach a large population, but also are interesting to like. I could. Lots of people say I'll make the video on the rings. I probably will make a video on making rings, but it's like it might take me 11, 12 hours to make that video, and it might only get 2,000-3,000 views. And I just think,
Yeah, it's a lot of work. That's what I've been complaining about. Yep. I've been talking about that on my lives. Like I'm changing my
People
channel
don't
for this
realize
year.
how long it takes to make
Yep.
videos sometimes.
Sometimes it's just not worth putting certain videos out. It's you never you kill your channel. You get like 200, 300, 400 views, maybe 1,000 views, and like, oh, that just ruined me.
Yeah, a lot of it, a lot of
statistics
time
behind it.
invested. Yes, I think James, where your channel's done so well is, I remember when a friend sent me a link to your channel years ago, and he said, "Watch this guy. He's like really, meticulous." And ever since watching your content, I remember you were doing some sort of generator repair, and you were like, "Oh, I'll just sit and I'll have a think about this, and I'll come back to it tomorrow." And I just think that's the sort of attitude that I need. And you've got this meticulous, methodical, really lovely to watch content. And you've obviously built up a channel around generators and that style, and it's incredible. But I don't think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't think that. I think you could produce any content and it would still be lovely to watch, whereas I don't think I've got that. I haven't got that.
It's weird though. I mean, no matter what you do, like people get upset. Like the last, I shouldn't say they get upset, but it's like if I fix a chainsaw, for example, they'll be like, "Go back to generators." You
get locked in. I talk about all the time.
People get mad when you go outside your comfort zone, because it's like I'm pretty good with generators. I'm pretty good with 4-stroke engines. 2-stroke, I'm still learning. I would not consider myself nearly as qualified to work on a 2-stroke. And people pick up on that, or people just don't want to see it. And it's nothing to do with
it's not
2-stroke.
you. It's not you. I often say Musty One would not be able to get a start today. For those that know Musty, he would not get a start today. It's people. It's not you. It doesn't matter if you're not really the best or not. They will watch you, James, and they will watch you, Tom.
I agree.
But really,
I agree. If you like the creator, if you like their content, you'll watch pretty much anything that they put out there. So that's something that's very true. And to be honest, if people are offended because I do something that's not a generator, then.
Well, how about when I'm on with that video with you, and and you're like, "Shut up, Ken! You're talking too much. I'm trying to watch."
Yeah, people do that, which I don't understand. I don't understand that. So, I try to keep it small engine related. I try to keep it electricity related. I've done videos on things that were like battery banks or things that were a little different, but still related, and they don't go over well. People like the small engines. They like saving trash. They like solving problems and how you do it. So it's like you got to kind of stick to the recipe that people like.
But
and
Jim,
that's why
just to show your popularity, Jim, excuse me 1 second. There's still 86 people watching.
Oh, is that really?
Because we've got James.
Because you got James.
Yeah.
James,
and now we got you, Tom.
Oh,
what do you mean?
My channel. He's gone.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
I got to turn the heaters off. I think they're using all the oxygen up.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, a little bit lightheaded.
That happens to me
Do
in
you-
here.
No, one of them's not burning super clean. You can start to smell it. So I'm like,
Oh,
eh,
yeah, yeah.
shut it off.
So when you do something slightly different, do you see a drastic change in video views, James, or is it pretty stable across the board, even if people complain a bit?
It's all over the place. Like the videos that I work hardest on often aren't the ones that perform like you would expect. It's like the oddball ones that, like that one that video I did years ago that had the muffler, the car
Yeah.
exhaust system on the
I
generator.
remember that one. I remember when you
So
did
many
that.
people watched that.
I liked
And
it.
a lot of people very critical, very not nice in the comments on that one. And it's like that's one of my least favorite videos, and that's probably one of the most successful ones. And it's like you just don't know. You just don't know what people
Yeah.
are going to watch, what they're
That's so
interested
true.
in.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised that even with a channel your size, that you still see fluctuations. You'd think you'd have such a solid base of people that almost no matter what you put out, it's still really within what 10,000 views of each video, 20,000 typically.
Yeah, the initial week is very similar. You know, you obviously have some that do better than others, but it's what it does after the first week or so. Does it just die or does it keep going?
Yes.
I'm
And a lot of
fascinated by
them,
the time I
yeah.
watch your video, Jim, like every Thursday, like as we always do, and I'm just watching the views 100, 150,
Boom,
200,
boom, boom, boom,
250.
Yeah,
boom.
And I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
weird.
great. I
Question,
love it.
not question, real quick, Jim. Is something you can answer?
Yeah, I have a brushless generator that will work fine at low power demands, but stops producing power every 10 seconds or so if I draw more power from it. Interesting. I would look at the engine speed because I've seen generators that have to be almost fully up to speed before they'll make power. So, you know, I guess yours is probably running at 50 hertz. And if it drops to say 45, that might be enough so that the system can't excite itself. So like I know I have generators here that when you turn the idle function on, they have the auto idle. If they drop below like 50 hertz or sometimes 45 hertz, the generator would just stop making power altogether. It's too slow. So I would look at that first. The only other thing would be the capacitor. I mean, there's really not much more you can do other than test that capacitor and replace it if it's weak.
Get a kilowatt, get a meter.
Yeah, always.
Well, yeah, the UK
You know,
equivalent.
to check
they do
the
have 'em.
frequency, I'm saying, to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, or you could just use a tachometer,
Tachometer,
an
do the
inductive
math.
tachometer
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
want. Yeah.
Yeah.
3,000 RPM, 50 hertz.
Hmm.
James, have you thought about reaching out to Vivor and seeing if you can grab a lathe, or are you not really interested in the machining?
You
side of things?
know, in 2023, I did a couple of videos like that where I got product and I did a video and they went over okay-ish. This year I did one video and people did not like it. They did not appreciate it. They were kind of brutal about it. So, you know, I had decided a couple years ago that, okay, maybe I would do one thing a year if it's generator related, very related to the channel. But people, that's not why they tune in. They don't tune in to see a generator or a machine or a product that just works. They want to see something that doesn't work again. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to not do that. But sometimes if Vivor reached out and said, hey, I want to send you this, I'd be like, I won't. You can send it, but I'm not going to do a video on it. If people see me using it, then it's product placement. I'm okay with that, but I'm probably not going to do dedicated videos on products.
No.
Well, look at what's his name, Hank, right, in Long Island, right? Henry Mowers and Blowers.
Yeah,
He's like the product placement whore, if you will. You know what I mean? It's like they'll send, hey, Hank, we got female
he's doing
underwear.
that a
All
lot
right,
now.
I'll do a video.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know. So
Yep.
I mean, I mean, if it works for him, gets the views and all that, God bless him. That's great. But to me, I mean, once in a while, I'll take on something. I'll do a quick video on it. But to your point, Jim, once people see you start doing it, it's like, you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I
happen.
used to watch Henry a lot,
Yeah,
and when he
me
started
too.
doing the reviews, I started to not watch him as much.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it hurts your channel, and I get it. but at the same time too, when people offer you a product that you value and you probably wouldn't buy otherwise, it's kind of hard to
Uh-oh,
say
what happened
no.
to Tom? Tom, what'd you do? You hit the wrong button. Oh, here, hold on. He's back in the basement. Wait a minute.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Oh, don't make me big. Sorry, I lost connection. Sorry, James. Yeah, it doesn't go down well for your channel.
Well, let me ask you, Jim, though, talking
Yeah.
about diagnostic, because analytics, Tom and I and Stella talk about this all the time. I don't spend any time really looking at my analytics. I really don't. My channel's too small, 7,000. I mean, it's nothing. But do you spend a lot of time, Jim, actually looking at the analytics and getting anything out of it?
Not a lot. I mean, it's hard to figure out why things are what they are.
Yeah.
Like one week you can make a decent amount of money. Next week you get the same amount of views, same amount of everything, and it's like
Yeah.
20% of what it was the week before. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, what's different this week? It is helpful though, because I don't monetize every video. A lot of new videos I do not monetize. And if the video is doing well a couple weeks later, then I will monetize it. So I look at the analytics just to see, okay, are any videos living on, past the initial release? And then those I'll just take the time to monetize them.
Jim, what's your take on like hashtags and stuff like that?
I use them, but
yeah,
I don't think they have much value.
No, okay. Everyone's always trying to figure out the algorithm, So,
Yeah, I haven't figured that one out.
Yeah, I think there's things that you can do that help, but I don't
Yeah.
think there's one thing that you can be
No,
like,
but
this is gonna make a
thumbnail,
difference.
title.
No, the
Yeah.
thumbnail helps a lot. I try to put a lot of terms, so if someone's trying, because that's the problem too. Like I'll do like 5 things in a video, and usually people are only, if the generator doesn't start, they're interested in one of those things. So that I kind of shoot myself in the foot, because people want to just solve their problem. And then, I figured no one would watch these long videos, because if someone's trying to solve a surging problem and I'm dealing with surging for, 5 minutes and an hour and a half video, they're probably not going to bother to try to find that. But I do try to tag it, and now I'm doing chapters and things like that just to help. But I think it kind of backfires too, because then people can skip through your stuff real quick, and not watch a majority of it. They might just skip to the chapter that they're interested in, and then they're gone.
That's because it's how-to based.
Yes.
That's why you're catering to something a very specific. That's the problem I have, and I'm getting away from that, because those people, I often say this, what they really want is you to fly out, right? Go to their house, fix it within 5 minutes. They don't want they don't even give them they don't want a cup of coffee, a beer. They just get out, go home on your dime, and that's what they really want. I've done 12-minute videos, and because I've added 5 minutes of maybe cleaning the rocker cover on one of the videos where I did valves on a Briggs, because the RTV was everywhere but where it needed to be. And I've had people say to me, you wasted my time. I just needed to know how to do the valve. Yeah. It was 12 minutes, and I did 5 minutes on properly sealing this thing up.
Yeah.
And they got annoyed. So those are not the people that really watch you. Those are, you have a core of people that watch you, whatever that number is. And that's what I want to get to is like, you take the Musty example. He has people that watch him. There's how-to in it, but nothing is ever, occasionally you'll see him in the past, he's labeled like how to fix it, whatever, but mostly he's not a how-to. I like the people like come here and that hang out and they talk to us, and sometimes we get to be friends with them, or they watch you because they want to see what you're doing. And more recently, I started like a vlog series, and I was surprised. Like, it actually gets a few hundred more views than what I would normally get. And I'm like, I wonder if there's anything to this. So I'll try that for this year and I'll see what happens. But the how-to's evergreen, right? Every year they make me a certain amount of money and they come back. But nobody comes from those and watches what I'm doing when I'm doing something else. They just want to know the how-to.
Right.
The quicker,
right.
the
They want to solve their problem and go away. And that's kind of what I expected way back in the beginning. But to your point, I think it's more, the people that watch me aren't the people that are looking for the quick fix. I mean, some are, but they're just they're
I look for an hour
retired,
to
they have
kill while I'm having
time,
coffee. So
they want to kill time, they want to be entertained, they want to learn something they didn't even know they didn't know,
Yep.
and there's, you know,
It depends upon what you want. There's nothing wrong with how to. I'm not making fun of it.
yeah.
no,
It's a thing and it's a genre,
it's a
but it's
smart
a
thing to
genre
do.
in itself.
Yeah.
And if you want to do something different, you almost need a different channel.
Yeah. Hey Jim, Sarah's question here. I think is she talking about the home light, the
Broken
1950 home
two-stroke with a
light?
bad take on it. That one I have
It's sitting in
actually.
back here on the shelf. I saw it when I was there.
Yeah, it's
Oh, shop
you
tour.
can't see it. All right.
Shop tour.
Well, see, the thing is, you're on a cord
Oh, all right. We can't go
that
too
only
far.
reaches. All right, now the max down on the microphone. Hold on, I gotta
You're good.
unclip. I can't move.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Nice.
I don't know if you can see that. No, you can't.
Oh, I had that little generator down there. I
Yeah,
did a
there's the
video
home
on
light.
it.
Yeah, the little,
Yeah,
remember
I
yeah,
had
but
that little
I
guy.
love the home light video because he made that shit tank like brand new.
Nice. And
That
that
tank
little
was
green guy,
disgusting. Yep.
that is so cool.
1950 home light.
Yeah, it is. I gotta roll it out here. I haven't run it since the video, and I want it. This thing is just
I love the old timey
crazy.
stuff.
I love the hammer tone paint.
Oh, isn't that nice? I love the color too. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
that color.
Yeah, it's a nice machine. It's very unique. You get the pull cord. I mean,
And
you
that
got the
tank is
Jim,
so cool.
when you took apart that, I'm going to say carb, it's more of a mixer, whatever. I was like, that thing's never going to freaking run.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Yeah,
course.
because the throttle is actually in here,
Yeah.
like connected to the governor. And this is like you said, it's just a mixer. All it
Yeah,
does
it's just a dripper.
is mix the fuel in the air, but there's no throttle plate, there's no
Yeah.
choke plate. You just have the primer, which gives it a squirt.
Yeah. Jim, how many hours on that tank?
Oh, I don't know.
You put
Too
a
many.
lot of time into that. Yeah.
The secret was the paint stripper, the varnish. And actually, someone sent me, I think, a manual for this. Oh wait, where's my manual?
Oh, an actual manual for it, for the home light manual? Well,
Yeah,
I
have
think
to go through.
did you talk to Leon on that at all?
No.
No.
Yeah, look
Look
at
at that.
this.
Holy cow.
Yeah, in
Oh,
the
wait a minute.
manual.
Wait,
That's
you're backwards.
beautiful.
Wait a minute. Mirror. Hold on.
There we go. Isn't that nice?
Wow.
Not
We've been watching
exactly
you
my
back-
model. That's actually the pump.
Wow.
It's the same engine, but
Fort
it's
Chester, New York.
a
There
water
you go.
pump.
Yep.
Then we have, yeah, it's a pump. So, but it has the engine is the same, so you can get.
Home Light had
water,
great
UV.
manuals. Phenomenal manuals.
Yep.
Nice.
But yeah, this machine, it was too unique. I could not sell this.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
cool. Yep. And it works.
Unless you
It
sell
does.
it to the right person,
Well, that's the thing. After that video went live, there were a lot of people reaching out asking if they could buy that.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that was.
And imagine if you signed it, James, extra 1200.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I've never. Usually, people do ask, like, "What do you do? Can I buy one?" But that one in particular, there were some people that collect, and they wanted that machine.
Yeah.
It's very unique, very old, pretty good condition for its age, and the fact that it still runs, and it's two-stroke generator, and it was clean. I don't know if you remember that. The THC
Oh, yeah,
was
absolutely.
like below 5%.
I know, for something that's
rare
75 years old. Yeah.
No,
have
you
one-
know,
that's clean like that.
electricity's been around. We've been doing electrical stuff for over 100 years now. Well over 1800s. They at least late 1800s, mid to late. Long time.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
on,
We used to
man.
have a beautiful trolley, one block over, electric trolley, battery operated. They would replace the batteries up the block and put new battery. These were the sodium batteries. And they took it out in the 60s, but it was 1914 or something like that. They started running that line, and it ran north to south here. So they should bring that back. I mean,
There's there's a tiny generator. It's American made. I can't for the life of me remember what the name is. It's literally like this big. It's 2-stroke, and it's got a tiny little generator on it. Red. Does that ring a bell? If I said tiny
Yes.
red 2-stroke USA made, I've always wanted to get one. And I saw one in a.
I'm trying to remember
What
Have you
was
got
it?
one
the
there,
name of
Joe?
that
What
one
is it?
was.
It's
What
like
is it?
I think
a
Terrell
tiny
did a video on
generator,
that one
2-stroke,
once.
like this big.
Really?
Like a tiny tiger or something. It has some weird.
It
weird
might
name.
be Tiny Tiger, yeah.
No, I don't think that's the name, but it's similar. Tiny.
No, I don't
But
think
yeah.
you're too far off with it.
What, to like run a drill or something?
No,
Back
for
in the day?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Like a
Portable.
job, quick job site type thing, run a saw or whatever.
That's it. I saw one of those in a museum, and I was so tempted to ask if I could trade like one of my restored machines of a similar era. But yeah, what was it called, Kenny?
Tiny Tiger, Model 300.
Yeah, James was
Really?
right.
Yeah.
Tiny
All
Tiger.
right.
It's in, well, the engine is an Olsen and Rice. That's the engine.
Oh, that's it.
wow.
Olsen and Rice. But you can get those out there really cheap, and they seem to be. I mean, that would make a fantastic video. Like it'd sit in the palm of your hand. And it'd be
Yeah,
like, let's do
Tiny
this
Tiger.
generator.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I already got a hate comment.
Oh no.
Yeah, I talked too
What?
much. James was getting pissed because I was talking too much. Okay.
You know,
Someone
it's a
come-
good thing you do, because if I ever hosted one of these, it would be a very quiet live stream.
No, just bring Ken on, and then you don't have to worry.
All right, I can just sit back and relax. You can do all the
Hey,
work.
Jim and I are good friends. If he told me to F off, I would. No big deal.
You can't make
I
everybody
didn't
happy.
think you would
No,
It's
I
not
know.
going to happen. It
know.
doesn't
You
work.
can't. If you're
I gotta
making,
admit,
you cannot.
it's my
If you make everyone
channel!
happy, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. Like I'm a big mouth, and people say, "Why are you yelling?" Because that's who I am. I'm like that.
Yeah, but Arch, you're funny. When someone says that, you're like, stop it!
I know. Because I'm getting older and cranky. That's why.
Yeah. That's,
I'm entitled, right? I feel entitled. At my age, I can do that now. I can say stuff like that.
yeah. Let's see. What's this here? Dad worked in the town power. My father was a utility worker he was a lineman for 40 years, my father.
Mm.
Yeah, screw that. Whatever. Hey, but you know what I say? And I give the guy some credit. You were watching. You may have shut it off, but you were watching.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's all.
Yeah, it's so hard. You can't please everyone.
No,
Some
no.
people are going
Hey,
to love what you do.
hey,
some
all I
people are
gotta
gonna hate
but
it.
all I have to say is I facilitate it. It's my channel.
Yes.
I'm paying for the restream. I apologize to anyone who thinks I'm over talking anyone, but I'll be honest. Those that know me, I got a big mouth. I like to talk. And my biggest vice, and everyone who knows me, Tom, you can attest to this to yours. I interrupt. It's what I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will not let
Yeah,
anyone
you
finish
do.
a sentence. That's who I am. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. I was born. They used to call me Raider O'Reilly because I would finish people's sentences. No, seriously.
Oh,
Colonel
that was
Blake
great.
would say, blah, blah, and they would call me Radar. So if they don't like it, but that's who I am, that you get what you get.
Yep.
Yep.
Right. That's right. I tell people sometimes, you know what? Because they'll complain about something. I say, if I were you, I'd ask for your money back.
There we go, Paul. Paul's done. Keep on talking.
Yeah, the one thing I will say too with the long videos, it wasn't initially the plan to make long videos, but when I was first learning this stuff, there was nothing more annoying than watching someone who didn't actually show how they fixed it.
Right.
They would talk about it,
Yep,
or they would fix it, and you couldn't see what they did, or
the
or they
shoulders
skipped
in the
5
way,
steps.
the elbow.
Yeah, and I'm like,
And-
you know what? I want to see what you're doing.
And these are complicated machines.
Yeah, but how many times have you lost?
Some of them are.
Lost a battery. You lost your video for 5 minutes, and it's like, I'll be honest, guys. I've actually retaken apart shit and redone a repair because I lost some footage.
Me too.
Just to make the video better.
I'll do the most important part, and then I go to hit stop, and I'm like,
it was never started.
Yep.
I never hit record.
There
And,
you go.
this is
Yep,
20 minutes later.
Yep.
I've taken the whole thing apart. I'm like, I got to put the thing back together.
Yeah.
again.
Isn't that horrible?
Like, this is horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my
That's like
cameras run on AC mains most of the time. Not always, but
Whoa.
generally they're on AC mains.
yeah.
God.
And I can see it through the big monitor over here.
When I
too,
went to
so.
Jim's last time when we were doing that generator, I saw that he had this little Ryobi little inverter.
Yeah, I love that.
I bought one that night. Okay.
Yep.
And now I have it consistently on my phone. I'll never run out.
Yeah, and I was talking about that on one of my live shows too. I love solutions like that.
Yeah,
They're really good.
It's like $20. Yeah.
I started with that too because it was dirt cheap and it worked well.
It works
Then I
Yes.
upgraded. I'll show you that.
And I
Yeah,
even
definitely.
bought a Milwaukee to Makita adapter, little plastic adapter,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to start using that. Home Depot
Nice.
has Milwaukee 2-gallon vacs on sale, M18 for $99.
Really?
Wet dry.
Damn.
Wet
I
dry.
wish I had the money.
There you go, Jim. There you go.
The 40-volt battery.
Oh wow!
And
yeah.
This one, pure sine wave, 300 watts. I use it.
Wait, is that another one? Because when you had the little one when I was there.
Yeah. No, I've had this one too. I
Okay.
started with the little one.
Yeah.
I used to run like lights when I was recording with it because
Yep.
I didn't want to trip over cords. And I got this for my laptop because I edit video on the go. And my laptop, the battery will last for 4 hours, but if I'm editing a video, it'll last like 45 minutes. You know, it's just so intensive.
How many watts is that, Jim? 300?
300.
My little
that's
one
a
is
lot.
200 watt. My little one's 200.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I don't have any batteries that big. What's that for, Jim? What battery is that for?
That's what Ryobi uses probably like in their electric lawnmowers and
No, I mean,
the
do you
larger
use
stuff.
that battery in anything that you have, or just for that?
No, just for that.
Oh, okay.
I love these kinds of solutions. Take advantage of the modern technology.
No, the worst thing is I film a lot outside of my driveway.
Yeah.
When it's 10
the battery
degrees
gets
out,
cold.
oh my God, the battery lasts 8 minutes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So interesting. Cool. Nice.
Two things, really random. You guys were talking about Two Vintage's channel earlier. Kenny, you told me about Two Vintage. I didn't know anything about him.
Yeah. Did you hear about the new one I just told him about? The new guy?
No.
Hold on. There's another guy. Hold on. Where is he? He's like, put it this way. He's like Two Vintage, but 15 years older. This guy. Look at this guy.
Oh yeah.
Passport.
You got
Kenny, can you take a screenshot of that and send it to the group because I can't close the phone down.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose it.
I'll do it to your WhatsApp, Tom.
All right, mate. Yeah, well, I was watching Two Vintages, and it's like you, James, as well. You guys can turn your hand to anything. Like 1 minute I'm watching you do like the electrics on a generator, the next minute you're rebuilding a motorbike. And it was the same with Two Vintage. He normally does motorbikes. And then yesterday or the day before, I watched a video of him taking apart not an ATV. What are those things with like they've got the cover over the top, and I think they've got seat belts and stuff.
Side by side.
Side by side. He took the whole side by side engine apart, and I'm thinking, I know he does do some of these bigger things, but I just think I wouldn't even know where to start with something like that. I mean, the manual, I guess you get the manual and you learn. But
I said,
thanks, Ken. And James, you say you're like, I'm not very good at two strokes. I've seen your two strokes.
When I saw James start that motorcycle, I said, "Holy crap!"
I think. All right, I'm going to restate it a little bit. I'm not tooled properly to deal with two strokes. So depending upon what I'm doing, I run into trouble because I don't have the proper tool to pull the clutch, or I don't have the proper tool to do a vacuum test on something set up in a certain way, so like I kind of work myself into corners. I actually did one recently where I'm like, I said right in the video, I'm like, I should pull this and grease the bearing, the roller bearing, the needle bearing. And but I'm like, but I don't have the right tool to pull it off. So it's going to have to be a tomorrow problem. I'm not going to buy the tool just for this saw, knowing that I may not work on one again like it for another 5 years.
Yeah. Sarah, watch Arch's channel. He's got some videos on those, like the Nocos and all that.
What do I have?
Like the Noco, the capacitor type starter jumper.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was cool.
Arch has plus Arch did a video on, what was that new design battery you were looking at, Arch?
The LifePo?
So Sarah, check out Arch's channel for those things. He's got a few good videos.
Different projects to do with it. And that's why I want to make like an AGT tech channel, just to move stuff like that to there, you know, all the electronics and electrical and weird projects that I like.
But I'm
You can have
amazed
fun
those
on that.
little Nocos and things with the caps in it and jump starting a
Yeah.
Mack truck or whatever.
Oh
my
yeah,
God.
those things. I got to get more into that. That's another thing I want to get into as well. And I'll be coming out, by the way, with my Odyssey battery video soon, which is a very
Is
expensive
that
lead acid
AGM? Is
AGM.
it
Yeah,
AGM? Okay.
it's like a hybrid. It's pure lead, no
Oh,
composite,
yeah. No
but it
liquid,
works
right?
really well.
Is there
It
liquid in
is.
it or no?
It's
Or
not really
gel? Or
liquid.
is it gel?
It's more like a gel.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a nice case. It's all American made, and it's expensive, but it's worth it. I think, you know.
How big is it? How big relatively?
Same size, you know.
Really?
I forget what group it is, but
Yeah. Huh.
it was the same size, just a squeak bigger, a little bit
Yeah.
thicker case, nice. Everything is just made right.
Yeah.
Like when you look at this battery, one comment I didn't make on the video, I'll make it now. This is how they should all be. Instead, maybe they were like this once. I don't know, but then they started making everything cheaper and chintzier, and the result is what you got to buy another one soon.
A throwaway society. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Well,
to
that's the
laugh,
problem
James. You're
too.
saying
These things are so cheap. You know, the chainsaw I just fixed, which you'll see in a few weeks, brand new. It was $180.
Well, like an
And-
MS-170 or something?
No, it was a Husqvarna. That was the 235
Oh, yeah, yeah,
or
yep,
325E,
yep.
whatever
Yeah.
it was.
35, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not a piece of junk, but for $180, you're going to bring it somewhere when it stops working and
For $180.
I know.
spend
That's
$180 to get it
That's
fixed.
right.
You know. So, I mean, I understand why people throw stuff away, but at the same time, too, I wish it wasn't so cheap to begin with. Like, it shouldn't be that cheap, you know.
Because it's crap. I did a video on the worst saw on the planet. It was the pool and equivalent of that. And people will tell me, but it's not a bad saw. And then they'll go over everything I pointed out of how crappy it was. They rewrite, but it's not that bad. I'm like, you just went over everything I went over. It's a piece of crap.
It is a piece of crap.
$150.
But even a piece of crap takes a lot of time and materials to build.
Yeah.
And could you build that saw for $150 or $180? No way. Like there's a lot of value in it that, you know, just because it's where it's being made, it's made at a fraction of the cost because they don't pay their
That's right.
people well.
Ed knows. We were talking about that on one of my lives about what goes on over there, and I don't want to bring it up now, but yeah. Oh my.
Jim, what's the THD of that inverter? That 300 watt.
I could test it.
Yeah. No, seriously.
It should be less than 1%. Let's check.
Let's see. Why not?
Hold on.
See, those of you that stood on 2 hours and 51 minutes, now you're going to get a treat.
Yep. Total treat.
I know. It's an inverter, so it should be clean.
It should be 2% or so. Yeah.
I like to geek out. So like these kinds of shows are, sorry everybody, but these are more geeky. You have to put up with it. They are a little bit more, you know, down.
But like I said, not everyone has a $400 THD meter. You know?
I know, and that's right. That's why we look to James for help with this stuff.
Yep. Well, I'm going to predict 1%.
Did you buy that, Jim, or did someone give it to you? Did someone
Kenny, blow him up.
No, I bought that. Well, yeah, the problem is going to be getting the angle.
You got to get the swivel, Jim, like I bought. You got to buy the swivel.
Get the swivel.
No, you can almost see it.
Almost see it. Well, we just want to see the meter. You can hold the meter up. Yeah.
I'll. Don't worry. I'll hold it up.
Yeah. Now, do you have to be powering something or just plug it in?
It'll change if we power something, but let's see where it is without a load. I'm turning it on.
0.9. Oh, no.
Nice.
0.9.
Wow. Holy cow. I got to check.
Can you put a load on that right now, like a small load, and see? Is that possible?
I'll plug this computer in that I'm using right now.
Sweet.
Yeah, see, I have one like that, the smaller one that Jim has for my Milwaukee, but it's a 200 watt inverter.
Which is still a lot, Ken. That's
but I run my laptop on it. I can run my laptop. Yeah.
Question is, can I probe it at the same time?
Yeah, you can
probe it. It's now powering the laptop, so about 150 watts.
You could just yell it out.
I need a different.
Oh,
Sorry
there
for
it
a
goes.
second.
Should be connected, right?
I see something.
Yeah, I see the red light. Yep.
Yeah, but it's not. The
No.
problem is this particular cord.
What if you pull the plug out slightly and hit the plug?
Yeah, yeah.
I need
Short
to
it out and
use-
blow it up.
Oh yeah,
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Too bad it wasn't an inductive THD meter.
No, I have to use a different cord. This cord, for some reason, you cannot probe it.
Can we
Oh,
just for
Only
people
on
that don't
Ken's Small
understand.
Engines channel, guys, do you get this, okay?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Just quickly, for those that don't understand, myself included, what is going on here? Like what? So James obviously has a
When
clamp
you
meter
have an
there, but-
inverter generator, what kills
Yeah.
electronics is the harmonic distortion in the wave. You want a perfectly clean
Noise.
sine wave.
Think of it as noise.
Yeah, you don't want a wave that looks like this, right?
Okay.
They're harmonics. There are
Harmonics,
multiples.
Yeah.
So 50 hertz is your primary frequency, right?
Yeah.
So harmonics are multiples of 50. So the first harmonic would be 100 hertz. The second one would be 150. So there's other frequencies in dirty power besides the 50 hertz.
Yeah.
And that's what THD is measuring. So right now it's powering the laptop, and we're at
1.9.
1.9,
Wow,
Yeah.
nice.
1.8.
Yep.
Cool. I got to do
So
one.
yeah,
Well, I don't have a THD.
it's better. It's better than my utility. It's
But you
clean.
see, what I'm going to do? Since I'm a geek, I'm going to buy the $300 goddamn meter because I won't even use it maybe 3 times, but I'll buy it.
So that meter you've got there, James, is a special. It's not a standard clamp meter. It's something unique. What it's got a feature.
It is in that it can do THD.
So that's one.
It'll do most
setting
of the other standard functions, but THD it'll also do.
Yeah. What brand is that one, James?
Amp probe,
Amp Probe. Okay.
which is
Yeah.
a
I mean, Tom,
division
you
of
could buy
Fluke.
a Fluke meter, but it's about $3,000.
Yeah.
Amp
So
probe is a Fluke, kind of. It's the cheap version.
Yeah.
so it's just an additional setting on that clamp meter. Essentially, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Just go on Amazonian, Tom, and type in THD meter. That's it, real quick.
Yeah, sure. No, I will do. I just wasn't sure because I've got a clamp meter. Obviously, it's just a cheap one, but it can do AC, DC, whatever.
Not many.
Well, is
But
If
I
I
don't
may-
think you can't do THD inductively, can you?
Oh, I've got absolutely don't ask me.
No. A clamp meter uses induction, when you're clamping, but I don't think
Yeah.
THD can use induction.
At least not the one I have. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
current and things like that, but not. I don't think THD. Yeah.
Ken,
This
blow
is-
me up just real quick for a minute.
Hold
Full
on.
screen.
Go ahead.
All right. So if you guys can see that, if that was a 60 or 50 hertz sine wave, all right, that's clean. Imagine the top peak at 50 or 60. This is not clean. See, it can sawtooth,
okay.
it can flat top. There's all kind of noise that could be put into even a sine
Right.
wave. All right. Even if it's a full sine wave, this is pure. And this is full of distortion, all
clean and dirty.
kinds.
Yeah.
So that's bad. All right. I just wanted to show that briefly. So for a little bit simpler understanding when we talk about distortions and things of that nature and harmonic. Now imagine a harmonic and is an amplification. So in guitar notes, if I add a harmonic, like I hit a low E harmonic and a high E harmonic, if they're the same, they'll resonate together and they'll look nice and it might be a little louder. But if I hit the wrong, like a third, and it's not correct, it will sound horrible and it's dissonant. And in electrical terms, that's bad for a lot of devices that are modern devices like cameras and all kind of things. I'll be right back. I got to go grab something real quick.
Well, I'll jump
Who
in with
makes
one
the
more quick
meter?
question, James.
Yeah.
What's the reason why you bought the clamp meter with that when you could do the same thing with an oscilloscope that you've got?
You
Which is probably
can't.
cheaper.
You can't.
Well,
Can you-
I shouldn't say you can't, but
Yeah, but we
um,
need a certain filter or something to do that.
yeah, the oscilloscope does have the capability to show you the different frequencies, but it won't show you the percentage. You have to calculate it. So it's a little bit, it's not as good for video to throw that on the screen because there's no numbers behind it that you can readily use. So the oscilloscope I just use to visually show it, but even if it looks halfway decent on the oscilloscope, it doesn't mean it's clean. Like I've seen ones that look clean, but the THD meter says otherwise.
Jim, is this the one here?
It's similar. It's the Amp Probe AC DC 52 nav is the one I use.
Hold on. All right, hold on.
So really, the oscilloscope is good for seeing waveforms, whereas this amp meter is good for. I'll take a screenshot of that.
That one,
Is
Jim,
that the one, Jim?
54 nav.
Yeah, that's the one I use.
All
I
right,
think,
let's see how much
or maybe
is.
it's the
Hold on.
52 nav, but they're basically the same. It's just
Yeah,
the top
look at how much
voltage
it is
rating.
now.
How much is it? $650.
Yeah.
But you can shop
And the only
around.
thing
Yeah.
that
So
and the
I
only
actually
thing that-
use the 52 nav, I think.
Let me see if they have
I'm
that.
still looking. Why doesn't it say the model on here?
and the only thing that can do differently to a normal clamp meter is the THD. James, is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
You're paying
everything
that
else on
much?
here is standard. It has, just voltage, current, resistance.
Oh, here's the
diode stuff.
52,
Yeah.
Jim. It's there. They have it. Hold on.
Yeah, one of them might be a little cheaper, but it's just the voltage, the max voltage you can do.
Yeah.
But neither one
Wow,
is
the
cheap.
52 nav, $600. Holy cow.
Okay. Price has gone up. Price has gone
Yeah,
up.
holy cow.
So let's say that you've got bad distortion on a generator or something. What can you do to resolve that?
Buy a better generator.
Okay.
There are
So it's one
ways
thing
to
knowing
clean it up, but they cost more than a clean generator.
Yeah.
So there's really no point in trying to clean it up. The only way you could, if you wanted to make it clean, you could take your dirty power to charge a battery bank if the charger will allow it, and then use an inverter out of the battery bank. But or you could get something like there are certain types of transformers that can clean it up, but they're not cheap. They're like industrial sized solutions for kind of cleaning up THD.
Yeah. So typically it's either the biogenerator, it's either got this dirty power or it's not, and you accept it for what it is, or is it something that worsens over time?
Yeah, hold on, my audio just went out. I think we've been on for too long.
Oh, the earbud? Yeah, the
The earbud died, but to be fair, it's gone through the washing machine several times, so it doesn't work as well as it used to. Sorry, Tom, what were you saying?
So is total harmonic distortion something that either is or isn't good on a specific generator, or is it something that happens or worsens over time?
No, it's either good or bad. It's not something that becomes good or bad.
Okay.
It's really just a matter of what engine is driving the generator. Is it running smooth? Because even though you're running at 50 hertz or 60 hertz, on a four-stroke engine, you get a power stroke every 2 revolutions. So it's not really running at 50 or 60 hertz. It's just kind of on average 50 hertz. But if you are actually looking at it, if you're actually sampling it at a high enough rate, you'd see that what looked like 50 hertz, it's actually a horror show. When the engine fires, it's probably, a lot faster, and then it slows down, and then it fires again. So, multi-cylinder engines will help with THD. Is copper used? Is aluminum used? How is it wound? I've seen on the nicer generators, the rotor actually has like a twist to it. So it's really just the manufacturing process used and the materials used and what type of engines used all kind of add up. Wow.
For the 50.
That's a lot cheaper.
Yeah. From
How much is it? My screen's too small to see.
300 US. That's from a place called Global Test Supply.
And this only applies really to. So if you have an inverter generator, it's always going to be
Yeah, but
can go
any
just working
generator,
quickly.
you're gonna have a sine wave. You're gonna have it. It's just
Sure.
you want to see how dirty it is, and if
Yeah.
it's the harmonic distortion, if you want to power computers, refrigerators with the circuit boards, anything with crazy
Yeah.
electronics. I mean, like Jim said though, even if you get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, is it gonna blow it up or anything? Probably not. You know.
Right.
Yeah, most things can handle that. It's more the electronics that are meant only for your power grid. So, like, electric motors, your HVAC system, probably your refrigerator, things that have to be 60 hertz, 120 volts, or 50 hertz, 230 volts, or whatever. There are devices that are meant only to run at that. And if you start running it outside of that or sending dirty power into it, it can't process it, can't handle it, can't dissipate the heat. It can't.
I actually saw a sticker
Yeah.
on a refrigerator when my daughter and I were looking for one for her. There was an actual sticker on it that said, "Do not run off of a portable generator." And it was a
Yeah.
sticker on the LG. It was an LG refrigerator because it had the computer in the door where it
Yeah.
actually you could see the contents and do Wi-Fi and all that stuff. And the guy said there was 1 or 2 parts in there that if the generator spikes, it blows it up. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But it literally had a
Yup.
sticker, do not use with like home generators. I was like, holy cow, I never saw that before.
Of course,
Yeah.
that's the first thing you want to use with a generator is to
Yeah.
steam all your food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But remember, this fridge was like $6,000. It was like it had a PC and a like widescreen TV in the door.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the type of stuff you don't want to run. Anything that's expensive, you probably don't want to run unless you have to. But yeah, I wouldn't be
Well,
happy
you got a
with my
freezer with
$6,000
$1,000
thing.
worth of meat in it, you know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that too. I mean, I've had lots of incidents with this freezer right here where the kids leave it cracked open and you discover it like 2 days later and just everything's gone.
Your meter's going. Wee.
Yep. Not generator related though.
Yeah. We had a freezer at work, -20, -30 or so, for adhesive. There's hasps that hold the door like tight because you really got to hold tight. One hasp broke. It actually broke because of the tension. The whole outside iced up. Now it was cracked maybe 20 thousandths, but it was that cold. Remember -20, -30 Fahrenheit. Okay. It just all of a sudden I believe, if I'm not mistaken, someone said it did something to the compressor or whatever, because it just overdid itself, trying to compensate. Crazy stuff.
Yes.
Well, we're getting quiet, fellas. I think that's
Simon
it.
and Garfunkel, The Sound of Silence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around all this stuff. So, Arch, just really quickly, you drew that picture of that sine wave, and you said it was like had all the squiggles for like dirty power.
Noise.
And then James, you said that it will be in multiples of 50 if you're running 50 hertz.
Yep.
So
It depends upon
There's
what's happening.
There's not separate sine waves, though. They add together. So, yeah, you have the 50 or 60 hertz sine wave, and then you might have 100 or 120 mixed in, but it averages or adds together. So it's still a single line, but it's just, wavy or jagged.
Yep.
Hey, I think we got to get
You get
Sarah up on panel because it seems like she definitely knows more than me.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on up. Come on up.
Yeah, Sarah, come on up. Click on the link.
So when you plug in one of those little things that you held up the plug that shows you the frequency and all that,
Like an oscilloscope is what you would want to see.
No.
Fluke has. Oh, but Fluke does actually. Well, others too, but they have a graphing screen that it will show you a sine wave, whatever that is.
The power analyzer.
Mhm.
It's nice. Oh, I don't even have the microphone on.
But what we're boiling it down to is a number, just a number. It's giving you the total harmonic distortion. So by certain numbers, would be good. Like we were explaining, James was explaining earlier, what is a good number, what is not a good number, what is average, what he sees and on average. If you want to go through that again, Jim. But we know certain numbers are acceptable, others are not acceptable. And it just makes things easy. I mean, you don't have to look at a scope to see really what's going on. You just boil it down to a few numbers.
Right. And it's just, it doesn't mean you're going to have a problem. It just means you're taking a bigger risk with the higher number generators. A lot of people have them, and I don't think many people have problems. But if you're the unlucky one that has a problem and your $20,000 HVAC system dies, then you're not going to be happy about it.
No, absolutely. And obviously, this is not something that. Is it the number is so small that it can't show on like a kilowatt meter when you're looking at the frequency, like 50 hertz?
Well, that's the thing, though. The kilowatt is purpose-built to measure, in my case, 60 hertz.
Yeah.
It's not going to pick up it's not sensitive to even pick up anything probably much outside that range. Although I will say I've had trouble with multimeters. Like I have multimeters that measure hertz. And if I hook up a multimeter to a generator, it might show 200 hertz, but if I hook up the kilowatt, it'll show 60. And I'm like, why is that? And that's because the multimeter is actually responding faster and picking up these other frequencies that are in there, the ripple frequencies that the kilowatt, quite frankly, is a very simple device.
It does smooth it out a bit, right? There's a bit of a delay in it.
It probably can't even see 100 hertz, whereas the Klein meter I have, if I hook it up, it might say 200 hertz. And it's like, where's it getting that from? You
would see that on a scope, though, because of the graphing. You would see this much more clearly on a scope. So then you would know, but that's the ultimate diagnostic tool. That's when you're looking to fix or test a new piece of equipment. So if you're in development stage of doing something and you really want to put something through its paces, you would be using a scope. If you're an electronic technician and you're working on RF or things of this nature and you want to look at stuff like that, then depending upon what you attach to the scope, and there's also different clamps and filters and attachments that you can get for a scope, and that will kind of allow you to look at different things through an average scope. So you would then look at it and you could say, oh, wow, look at all of that ripple in there. Where's that coming from? And then if it's not supposed to be there from the factory, there's something wrong. Could be a bad cap, bad connection. I've had issues with amplifiers that would throw the circuit breaker. These are, regular audio amplifiers. And no one could figure it out. So what I looked at and I said, you know what? I know what it is. I resoldered everything on the board, never had a problem again. And it was developing intermittently this problem where you would have this huge multiple from the amplifier and it would peak and blow the circuit breaker. And it was solder joints. See, there you go. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
That's one of the ways. Also flat topping. So if it's supposed to be a pure sine wave and you'll have this nice sweep, whatever that frequency is, whatever that peak should be. But a lot of power supplies and things don't do that. They have flat tops, they're modified sine waves, they're half waves. And if the piece of equipment is designed to make that or to tolerate it, that's fine. Like a battery charger. You don't need a pure sine wave battery charger. You just need it to make sure that you're developing the right power at the right moment in time and that you're not exceeding it. But, a laptop is going to need something a little bit better than that. Audio equipment will need it because you'll hear it as noise. Like my tube guitar amp makes a racket, but it's a tube amp. Right. You could put anything through that. It doesn't care.
Yeah, that's what Arch was saying. Flat top.
Yep.
Yeah. Looking at those excuse me. Looking at those waveforms, it made me laugh. I recently bought a TIG welder. And I was doing AC.
It's the same kind of thing.
Right. Yep. Well, I didn't realize, I did, but I didn't think it would do anything. I was TIG welding on a high frequency start. And I don't know what actually caused it, but my internet router started smoking, and I burnt it out. I
Oh
don't know whether that
yes.
was actually from high frequency start, or whether it was because it was on the same power and it was constantly changing. Maybe there's voltage drop, and that might have upset it. But yeah, just seeing that wave made me think of my welder. I thought, oh yeah, I've messed some stuff up with it. So I keep
Oh
all
yeah.
of my nice equipment out of the room now when I TIG weld.
Yep. Oh yeah, because you're imparting.
Yeah.
I was doing something the other day I was working on that Tecumseh, and it was a hard start. So I was wired in, right, with the camera facing me, and the camera's on AC mains, and it's looking at me, and I hit the starter, right, to just check for spark. Hit the starter, the camera blacked out. Hit the start again, camera blacked out, right? I went,
Wow.
and I didn't make a big deal of it. I just kind of made a mention of it because I didn't want to get all technical as to why that's happening. I'm like, oh, that might happen again. Then, but if you just did it and then held it down, the camera was fine. But it was that quick pulse. It threw so much
Right.
RF into the room that the camera went, oh, stop!
That's hilarious. Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this new equipment, and that's why I brought this question up to James earlier, because this new equipment is kind of new to us. Like this phone doesn't really care that much. It's already got a radiation source built into several of them, right? And it's hardened. But a lot of this other stuff is not. It's not tolerant, and it's kind of new to a lot of us. And we're starting to plug these things into these cheap generators coming out of China that are probably putting out all kinds of weird frequencies, and they're not very good. And they're really just meant to run your saw out on a work job site for a little while, or to run a light bulb or the lighting in your house or your shop
Yeah.
for the hour that your power is off. But yet we want to plug all our stuff into it. And this is going to be a big topic moving forward. And I think I've noticed there are people starting to talk about this. They're asking, can I plug this in? Can I plug that in? Oh, I don't know. Be careful.
Yeah.
And you just said you just burned out your router. Or whatever it was.
It
What'd you
started
burn?
smoking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. Don't do that. No.
Yeah. I was like, oh no. I didn't have internet for like a week while I had to get
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sure.
Try explaining that to your partner.
And Ken and I have been talking about router because I want him to get one. Well, the ones that we're looking at are like, what are they, like 400 to 600 to 1,000 for a set of mesh? When you burn that out, you're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
I'm just going to run fresh Cat 6 cable to every room.
That's the first thing I
That's the way to
suggested.
do it.
Yeah, just start with that.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So
Isn't this crazy? By the way, Tommy, I'm sorry that happened, but I'm so glad you mentioned that because it really ties into almost, one of the themes of the show. Yeah.
Do some crazy stuff.
I'm sorry that you went through that, but I'm glad that you said it.
Well, I'm glad that it didn't destroy probably spent $3,000 or so, maybe a bit less dollars just on a few different measuring devices like micrometers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in my toolbox, and the toolbox is like a meter away. I am so grateful that the router went, and that made me aware.
Yeah.
Now I don't keep my phone. The router goes out, laptop goes out, all my impact tools go out, all my measuring tools, they're all under like a day bed in here now because I don't want to risk it. I don't want to wreck it.
Yeah. I don't know. Does this go back to grounding? Like, how else can we protect ourselves? When I was working for Grumman back in the day, the E2C Hawkeyes, when they would test the radar system, I think one of the reasons they moved it off the island because it's too populated. And they had to put copper mesh in all of the walls of all of the buildings and offices.
The signal, yeah.
Yeah.
It got to be too much.
Like a Faraday cage?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's what possibly helped. Well, as you said, who knows? But I mean, I was on a wooden table. I was ground to the piece that I was welding. So I genuinely think it was just a high frequency, whatever it was giving off, the high frequency start caused some sort of issue. But so for heads up for anyone that welds.
It is a total heads up. Everybody should be listening to this because I know I'm looking at some of those welders too now. I'm like starting to get the itch. To replace my Lincoln, but to add to my outfit. And with all this gear in here, I'm like, ooh, what do I do?
Cheap sounds good, but cheap turns out expensive in the long run.
Yeah.
No, get it. Honestly, that TIG welder that I bought, a lot of money, but it's been great. I've already, done repairs using it.
Yeah.
And I've seen your fabrication stuff, mate, and I love it. I
It's
think
so much
it's
fun.
great, so. It is, isn't it?
It
really
is.
rewarding.
I love doing stuff like
Jim,
that.
do you weld, Jim, at all, or what?
Not TIG, but yeah, I've been going through trying to figure out MIG, which I don't do it a lot. I really don't. So I wish I did it more because it is so enjoyable.
But there's nothing like TIG though. A row of dimes on the TIG. Oh. Well,
I've got to
there's
say,
that
I'm so
website.
proud
Was
of
it
it.
Weld Porn? I mean, you look at some of the. Oh my God, it's like art. It's like art, especially the stainless where it turns purple with the argon shielding. Oh my God.
This was I'll bring it back.
Well, I remember the guys in the shop at Grumman, they would weld up the aluminum wave guides for the high frequency RF and the microwave, and it had to be perfect. I mean, first of all, you fill it with gas. I think you fill it with argon. I don't remember.
Yeah, argon. Yeah, it's argon. Yeah, but look at this. Well, hold on. Look at this. Is that not sexy or what?
Oh, damn, the color.
I know. The stainless. It's unbelievable.
Oh.
My God. Hold on, Tom.
Well, now I'm not going to do it now. You've just showed the most beautiful wells about to show you. You ruined it for me.
Retreat.
No, it's all right. Show us what you got.
Yeah, bro, it's okay. It's not a problem.
Well, I'm really. Can you flip me around, Kenny, and back to front? It's making me feel woozy.
What are you?
The camera. No,
back to front. That's it. I'm really pleased.
Oh, that is very nice.
Yeah. Aluminum too.
Yeah.
You got talent,
nice.
bro.
Yeah,
it's there. You're getting it.
Yeah, there's a row of dimes. That's it.
How's
the penetration, though, Tom? How's penetration?
I split it. Not this one, but I had a 5mm thick alley. Oh, there it is. And I cut it, and actually, this isn't a piece. And I etched it, and the penetration on it was actually surprisingly good, even for 5mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like you see it. Yeah, you're in there.
Yeah, so the root, it has gone in there. I actually put it on because initially when I started welding, I thought, it's got to go all the way through. It's got to go right. Actually, no, that's not the case on that, especially with a fillet weld. It's got to be, not that I really know much about it, but the shape, the profile, the depth, the angles. But that's the hardest I've found. Aluminium fillet welds are an absolute nightmare.
Tom, do you push or pull?
Drop.
Do you push or pull?
Push with TIG.
Push. Yeah.
But the thing that's so hard about fillet welds, and I've literally spent hours and hours and hours practicing, the weld puddle can drop, and holding the torch at the slightly wrong angle moves it in the wrong. I mean, you can see all the bits of stuff I've been practicing on. That's about
that's good job, bro. You've really been working at it.
Well,
good for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, but it's it's a nightmare. But
Plus,
anyway,
the aluminum just drops out. Aluminum just drops out. For those that don't know, some of you may already know, but aluminum just disappears. I mean, you think steel is bad or thin sheet? Aluminum just, all of a sudden, everything's gone. What happened?
Yeah. How do I come back? Front. I can't do it. Kenny, is it?
What's the matter now?
Just trying to tell me. Oh, there we go. Yeah. I'll put
are you right side up? Are you good, Tom?
No. This is my right hand. No, flip me around again, mate. It's weird, isn't it? That's better. Those stainless steel welds when they're like purple and gold. It's just, it's so nice.
What is cold welding?
Expensive.
What do you mean cold welding?
Cold? No, gold. Those nice gold and purple colors.
Oh.
I didn't say cotton. Maybe misheard me. Oh. But the cost is crazy. A bottle of argon, which doesn't last that long.
Yeah.
Like a D size. You're looking at like $120 to refill out here.
Yeah.
And then you've got everything else, the consumables, the wire.
But what do you, Tom? Are you 100% argon or 75-25, or what do you?
No, 100% argon.
100%, okay. Because here, it's 100% argon for aluminum, but then 75-25 CO2 to argon for steel and regular stuff.
Yeah.
So. That'd be MIG, though, wouldn't it? That's not TIG.
Well, I don't know. Is it different for TIG then?
Yeah, all TIG is either helium, which people don't really do anymore, or it's just pure argon.
Really? No matter what you're welding, whether it's because here the gas changes with steel versus aluminum. I know that.
Yeah, so for TIG it doesn't. You still run 100% argon, so it could be steel, stainless steel, chromoly, aluminium, magnesium, all of it's still 100% argon.
Oh, I want to see
But
I want to see weld magnesium with a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, well, yeah. Do you know, this is the other thing. I bought.
Oh,
a
wait.
rod
I
that's
got to tell the
1
quick
meter.
story. Tom was asking me one day. He goes, "Oh, hey, mate, I got the chainsaw. How do I know if it's a magnesium case?" I go, "Take a little
Yeah.
chip of magnesium, take a lighter, and then get the frig out of the way."
If it glows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you go
yeah.
in, there you go, it's like, boom. You go, "Oh shit! Oh, yeah, it's magnesium." Yeah,
Yeah, gently
that was
fire it
funny. He's like,
away.
boom. Yeah, that
But
was
the
good.
cost of even that magnesium rod. So I
Oh
bought one. Just
yeah.
in, bought
Yeah.
one. 1 meter was like $35 Australia.
Oh,
It's
sure.
about 23 US for one rod, a meter
yeah.
long. It's just crazy.
We machine a lot of it at work, and oh my god, you have to have special because you have to.
Oh,
Well, when you're grinding it, you have to
yeah.
drench so you don't melt the. We had an explosion one time where the magnesium caught the filter on fire. Because the sparks and stuff.
Gosh.
Well, no, but if you're
Yeah.
fighting a fire, firemen would rather put out a Tesla than a magnesium fire.
Yeah,
You
you
know
need
what I mean? It's
foam.
white hot. It's white hot. I mean, you can't go near it. They'll just let it burn.
Yeah.
Just let it burn. Yeah.
Mm.
Crazy stuff.
It's almost as bad
Talking
as
about welding.
phosphorus.
Yeah.
I had a friend come over yesterday, and I know this is automotive, so it's not really related, but we're talking about tools, not having the right tools. He wanted to take off the crank bolt to be able to pull the harmonic balancer off.
Mm-hmm.
And for a Honda, it's like 400 foot-pounds or something, and then you have to do like another 60 degrees, he was saying. Anyway, to get this off, you need to use like a really heavy-duty socket. And we went through a few ideas, and he ended up just welding, like with a MIG welder, a whole bunch of weld onto the socket, and actually it made the world of difference. So having that extra mass and not necessarily, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Like a
Absolutely
zipper. Yeah.
stunning.
Oh my God, look at that. You
Stunning.
get excited.
Yeah, but
looking at it.
as pretty as that is, though, for a lot of this small equipment repairs, I would recommend stick and the right rod. And you can get welders nowadays that do everything all in one. And I've been looking at some of those. And stick, I want to go back to stick for a lot of this dirty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see why.
With the stick, or just
stick.
No, just
stick
With the right rod chosen for what you're working on, because a lot of it, even flux core, although that's so that's just as bad. I think you're better off with stick. But I'm not against flux core either. I've had a lot of experience with flux core. When
it's great when it's
dirty,
windy outside. When it's windy outside.
and I like to do stuff outside.
The gas blows away when you're fixing a trailer or truck. You gotta have flux.
You got to crank up your regulator, and then you're wasting so much energy and gas and money. And
hey, Arch, when you were younger, were you like me? You've used batteries to weld?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
We did jumper cables, a coat hanger, and a car battery to fix a trailer on the road.
Wow.
And how about oxyacetylene with a coat hanger to fix exhaust? A lot of times, and it's actually good rod. Like it works pretty good.
That's why they say farmers are the best mechanics and welders. They got to do it out in the field.
Yeah.
Talk about welding with batteries. There's a really great channel people might want to be interested in checking out. His name's Marty, and then it's a space T.
Yeah, I know him.
I watch him.
I've seen him.
I love that guy.
Yep.
He's great, isn't he? He's
the guy. I wrote to him one day. He farted and he went a little more choke, and that would have started. And I died. I died. I was like, "That's the best, Marty. I'm going to steal that." He goes, "You can take it."
That's good.
He left it in. Well, he did a video talking about welding. Sorry, Arch.
No. I just had to say, he really is kind of neat to watch. He's very quiet,
right?
And he does all of that stuff outside or in that shop he has, and it's just fun.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, that's it. He did a video talking about welding with batteries. He actually did a battery repair where he bought an AliExpress terminal repair kit, and you have a bit of lead. You use the battery to create heat to melt or heat up a rod to melt the lead. Yeah.
Because he's out there in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
What a beautiful place that he has.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's it, Kenny. That's it. Yeah, great video.
Yeah. By the way, do you guys remember when his wife told him no more tractors and stuff, and he started working on his house back in the city? And he was like, I don't know if
No.
people are going to like this. And then that stopped. And he went back to buying stuff and doing stuff for other people again. You guys remember
Not
that?
surprised. No, I
Yep.
didn't. I
So we
didn't
were
catch
talking
the
about
second one.
earlier about what happens when you veer your channel off. Yeah, well, it didn't work for Marty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
yeah,
his
no.
wife had to yield.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he'll be doing very well on YouTube. But no, great. It was watching him kind of melt that lead and add more lead to it.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Really cool to watch.
I think that's it. Part of it for him is when you really understand the basics of certain things, you can do just about anything you need to do.
Yeah, I think you're right. You can
Tools.
kind of expand your what you do.
Yeah, he gets
Actually, I watched him. Yeah, absolutely. I watched him repair a tractor, and the clutch was seized, and he tied the tractor to via a chain to a tree, and then put it in gear, and then basically let it free itself up. And again, just a really cool kind of little neat trick.
Yeah.
If you want to break the rust. And going back to getting that bolt off for the Honda harmonic balancer on the crankshaft, I was going through forums with my mate yesterday, and you've probably heard of this, like you guys. Someone said put a big breaker bar on it, and then hit the starter, and that can sometimes crack it. And I thought, wow, that's some serious torque going through there.
Yeah, be careful.
You get the wrong way.
Be careful of that, because I worked for a guy, and he was working on an engine, and it was an overhead cam engine. I think it might have even been overhead valve, but it had timing chain, big long timing chain. And he went to do that. And I said to him, don't do that. Well, everybody does this. I was a young fella, and I said I would not do that if I were you. Well, he did it. And then he was wondering why it had no compression. And I said, because you notched the timing chain off a sprocket or two. It's probably one of these engines that has zero interference fit, right? It's like you hit a valve and you bent it. Well, I should be able to do a test on it. I'm like, well, it's got no compression. Well, it must be because the carburetor isn't open. I said, look, take all of the rocker arms off, right? And now the valve should be shut, right? Well, why isn't it building compression? Because the valves have to open. I'm like, no, the valves don't have to open. As long as there's air in the cylinder, you should be able to compress it. You might not get the total reading, but you'll get a reading.
Right.
And you still don't have a reading, the head's got to come off. You blew it.
Valve, or pop the hole in the piston.
So I don't really recommend doing that, especially on some of these motors. And you may not know if they're going to hit, or the timing chain is getting old and loose. And sometimes you can break the timing chain tensioner, and that'll be enough with a couple of turns to jump the sprocket and then slam the valves into the piston, and you're done.
All it takes is one tooth.
One tooth and one full revolution, and you're done.
Yeah, it's not
so.
Good. Well, he ended up, as I said, welding the socket, and he sent me a photo this morning, and he was so happy because he wanted to get it done before he had to go back on.
I like Marty T showing his little kid how to run the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant! It's such a good channel, and there's one more for outboards, and he's another Kiwi. His name is Kenny. Oh, it's gone now. But again, I can't remember his name. A really great channel for outboard repairs in New Zealand. I think it's going to go if I close you down, but let me just have a look.
It's gone dark.
Yeah, he's got to find it.
It's what It's 1:30 p.m. his time.
Oh, that's not bad.
His hello.
Hello.
Yep.
Hello.
Dagner Marine, Dagner Marine. Another great channel to watch. Just very similar to Marty in that it's like he's got, a rough-looking workshop. Everything's exposed to the elements, and really smart guy. So again, for anyone that's interested in engine repairs, he's just started doing more content. Yep, that's it. Yeah, another really great channel. Well worth a watch.
Danger with an A. Dangar.
Dangar.
Yeah, Dangar. Yeah, Dangar Stew, and his channel's Dang whatever. But yeah, another great, well worth.
Hey Jim, you're not going to
Check
get
it out.
are you? You're up late.
For what? As long as I get up tomorrow, there'll be no problem.
I know I gotta
That's
get up.
right.
I gotta get up for breakfast in about 5 hours, but that's okay.
Yeah, it was a good stream though.
I know, it's
Definitely
fun,
enjoyed
man.
the whole thing.
Yeah. Except for my hater, but that's okay.
He says he's a hater. He's just complaining.
No, but no. He's defending Jim.
Okay,
Well,
that's
that's
good.
nice.
He said, I wanted to hear Jim. I didn't want to hear you.
Okay.
So when was this, Kenny? Was this on this stream or earlier on that other stream when you went to James's?
He put a comment in the video basically saying, shut up. You're talking too much. You're interrupting Jim. Jim's getting pissed. Let him talk.
Oh yeah. I'm so pissed.
Yeah.
Oh, mother henning Jim.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh.
Whatever. So.
Yeah, that's one thing I can't imagine, James, is you being angry. Like I watch you, obviously you would get angry, but I watch your content and you're so calm and like so placid. And
He's doing the video. I'll text him, Jim, your hair's on fire.
Okay, I'll deal with that in a minute.
Yeah,
it's okay. And Jim, when Ken went round to yours, and you were like, Kenny, you're making me rush faster than I'm used to normally working or something. I thought that's so cool. Like,
the one guy got really pissed. He's like, "Shut up with the Wayne stuff." Remember, every 5 minutes, like Wayne.
Yeah.
One guy got real pissed. Like, "Shut up with the Wayne."
I think the problem was too. I'm like, this is all the stuff I edit out. Like finding the right socket or
said, this is not being edited. It's live.
It's live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show, if they watch what you did in my video, then watch your video literally a few weeks earlier or whatever, there you go. You see the difference.
Is there any reason why you don't do like live videos? Is it just you don't like it, or you like to work at your own pace? You don't like the pressure?
To be honest, I don't do a lot of live videos for a few reasons, but I think first, mostly it's because the only time I have to work on stuff is the same time I would have to do lives. And it's like to publish a video every week.
Yeah.
Like this is, if I take one night off or 2 nights off, then I probably won't have enough time.
You're in a rhythm, right? You're basically in a rhythm every week?
Yeah. I mean, the only time I have to do anything is like from 9 to 11 each night. That's it. So whatever I can get done, I get done. And, if I miss a few days, then we may not have a video. And I mean, I'm actually, I've worked ahead, but which is good. But even like around the holiday time, I took some time off and then I got the flu and then we have this huge cold streak. And it's like, it's getting to the point now where it's like, I got to catch up. I got to, get back on the train here or else I'm going to run out of content.
What's your average editing time though, Jim? Hours spent on a video, say an hour-long video. How much of it is editing, say?
I don't even know if I can estimate that. It's an hour-long video is probably 4 hours editing, 6 hours of editing. It's a lot.
Much filming though? How much filming?
Like raw video?
Yeah, like would you take a 4-hour video to condense to 1 hour? I mean, that much editing or no?
I think so, yeah. At least.
Because I'm averaging 4 to 5 times is what I'm seeing. If I'm doing a 20-minute video, it takes me an hour and a half or something.
Yeah, it really depends on the video. I mean, there can be things like I had a generator. It took me 3 hours to swap the starter out. I probably had the camera rolling the whole time, but when I actually air the video, it'll probably be 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, and people still complain it's too long, but it's like there are certain things that you get hung up on, and that's the whole point of an edited video, that you don't torture people with it.
Yeah,
you show them how to do it, and you do it, and then 3 hours later you come back and you're like, But I try to keep a lot of stuff in there, but it's one of those things. Like if I need to tighten 8 bolts, I might show 2, and then be like,
yeah.
You don't need to see all 8.
That's good though. Yeah, absolutely. You can just get too much.
I started doing that power cut where, let's say you're doing 5 balls, and all you see is
exactly.
I like that. I'm like, that's the power cut, right?
Yeah. It takes a little more editing, but it's worth it.
But let me ask you though, Tommy, what's that video? What's that stuff we were using? What's the editor that you were showing me?
The one that I use, LumaFusion.
LumaFusion. I know in a camera you can go 10 times. Is there different speeds for fast forwarding things when you?
Yeah,
There
on
are
the
different
editing
speeds.
software, yeah, you can go 6 times.
Okay.
I try and make my life as easy as possible for the editing. So, like with taking a bolt out, I might have the camera overhead, and I'll start taking the bolt out. And once that bolt's out, I'll actually move the camera, change the angle, and do it again. And that way, it keeps things fresh. It takes a long time, but it keeps things
Yeah.
fresh for the viewer. And
Yeah.
it's not just me zooming in and out or speeding up and slowing down, but it's
Yeah.
you have to enjoy it. Otherwise, I think you'll eventually just go crazy. And actually, I do enjoy the editing more so.
Yeah.
The more I do it, the more I enjoy it.
See, me with getting older, your eyes are good or whatever. I really need to get like a desk type computer
screen.
desktop with a real monitor because doing it,
Yeah.
Jim with the phone, I don't know how you do it. And Tom does it all with a phone. I couldn't.
Oh, do you do the phone as well, James? Everything's edited on your phone.
Well, he does.
No,
No,
recorded
but
on the phone, but not edited.
But
Oh.
Tom does it on the phone.
The editing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I couldn't do that.
I go
actually,
blind. I would go blind. Yeah.
maybe my first video or two, I did edit it on the phone, and that was it.
But Tom's doing it with effects and everything. I go, how can you see that?
People do that. That's what I think.
That's
That's
what
what
I'm used
Henry
to.
does. He does his editing on the
Hank
phone.
has the iPad. The iPad.
No, Henry.
I think he's thinking of Henry.
Henry
Mose
Mars.
and
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to see it because I mean, like right now, I'm watching my laptop. All right, and if I look up, everything's blurry for like 2 seconds, until my eyes get accustomed or whatever. I don't know.
The thing I like so much about the phone is because everything's done on it, I can literally do it anywhere I like. I don't have to carry around a big laptop. So I might be on the train or something and I'll just do a little bit of editing, or I might just be lying in bed and I'll do a little bit of editing. So I like the convenience of that, but also I understand that it comes at the drawback of not being able to see things, and sometimes it's hard to. Yeah.
Jim, I want to ask you this now that Tom's here. Do you ever use a script of any kind with any of your videos?
No, but I'll do multiple takes to get the wording right, which drives me nuts because a lot of times I'll look back at it and I'll be like, the first one was fine. Like, why did I do this 3 more times?
Tom, can I show Jim the crow?
Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Oh my God,
yeah,
Jim,
absolutely.
you're gonna die.
This happens every time. And just to preface something with the scripting, all of the tutorial videos I do, they are scripted in the respect that I physically write down what I want to say and I will say it. But if I'm doing a repair that I genuinely, this machine's not working, of course that's not scripted, but I don't want to say the wrong thing, put it in the video and actually think, oh, I wish I said that. So any video I do that's like, this is how you do this is how you take this car apart, this is how all of that stuff, I want to make sure is as good as I can do it. So I script. You'll see it in this video,
that's why
you chuckle.
I don't script it, but I'll do the same thing and I'll say it like several different ways because I don't know which one I'm going to feel better about when I'm editing it, and then sometimes I watch all the ones I did and they're like, they all suck, or it was the first one. But
then you go back to using the original one and you wasted all that time.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of times the first one is fine, but you're there, and it's easy to record it twice. That way, if you I've done things too where I'm like, oh, the first one's perfect, and I don't record it again, and then I watch the video, and I'm saying, oh yeah, look at the gauge on the right when it should be the left, or look at the gauge on the left and it's the right. You just say things wrong and you don't realize it at the time. And you're like, I'm glad I did it again because
here we go. You ready?
Wrong words.
Here we go. This is editing screwed up by a bird. This little tool by steel to be essential. I consider this small tool by steel to be essential. Right, that's it, you little fuck.
That's awesome.
Oh.
That's great.
I consider this tool. I consider
consider this small tool to be essential for anyone who repairs two-stroke engines as well as four-mix engines too.
It's so true, though.
Oh, it's so great.
It's so true. I can't tell you how many times a loud truck drives by, a dog, a cat, a crow.
This small tool by Steel to be essential for anyone that repairs two-stroke engines as well as four-mix engines too. I consider this small tool by Steel to be essential for anyone that repairs
And I finally get
two-stroke
it.
engines as well as four-mix engines too.
Yeah,
That is
ridiculous.
I
awesome.
love it
was
when
11
Tom's there.
takes.
I can do this. Oh, fuck me.
Yeah,
I love it.
And then
I
when
wish
the airplane
I have
noise-
I have a lot of clips like that I wish
outtakes. Oh, God.
I saved the reference to. Like, I have all the videos, but to find them, I'll never find them. It's like a needle in a haystack. But
Just dump them in a separate folder.
Yeah.
I need to
and
do that.
Just take it, have a folder, and just copy,
Yep.
paste, whatever, and just leave it. And maybe one day you come back to it, and you'll be
One
like,
day, I'll
great.
never forget, Conquer, top of our friend Phil over in UK, visited Mick, okay? And Mick did a quick video on the outtakes. Oh, my God, him and Phil. Like, Phil was trying to... He brings a mower all the way down to Bognor Regis, a 2-3 hour drive to where Mick is, right? And the only thing it was, I think Mick turned the adjustments to a quarter turn. That was it. That's all. So Mick, he brings this thing up, he starts it up, he goes like this. And then he's like... and Conquer's like, and then Mick's like, F me, this and that, whatever. And Conquer's like, oh, what'd you do, mate? But it was all the outtakes, and Mick's like, you son of a bitch, things like that. Oh, it's hilarious, but all he did was turn the mixer screw quarter turn. And Conquer goes, oh, that's it, huh, mate? And Mick's like, it's hilarious.
It can
And
be
then,
something
that's right,
so
and then Conquer's
simple.
like, hey, where's the sausage rolls? Hilarious.
Yeah,
But
it can be.
outtakes, I'd love to do. I mean, I don't think it'd be too much swearing, but it would just, oh God, funny.
Hey, I don't want to I put those sorts of things like on my Facebook page or.
Oh, they're hilarious.
I don't want them
I mean,
public.
we're human,
Yeah.
but the crow was a killer, though. Oh my God! And then you see him fly by afterward.
That was awesome.
Oh, that was good. And then
when
what? You
the
have
plane-
airplane afterwards? Did an airplane go by?
Yeah, well, yeah. So sometimes if like an airplane goes over, it might take 2 minutes. So that's when I'll get my lines out and I'll read them and I'll practice them to try and get it. It's
Because I
to
was
me,
joking
it's like-
with Tom. Tom goes, "Yeah, I'm reading my lines." I'm like, "It's freaking YouTube. What
It's-
lines? What are you talking about?"
yeah.
It's
well,
so
I
true,
have-
though.
Yeah.
Like little things like that really get to you. And like I've been, I there's a lot of wind noise when I record. So like I'll be standing out there recording, like, saying whatever I'm saying, and I'm like, the wind won't fucking stop blowing. It's ruining my video. I'm like, I'm just gonna wait here for the wind to stop. And you see me, I'm like waiting, like, I'm like, the wind's not stopping. And then I go inside. I'm like, as soon as I go inside, the wind stops. So I come back out. I start recording it halfway through what I need to say, and it starts like hurricane force winds blowing
when
into
you're
the
watching
microphone.
the video to edit it, and all you hear is,
Yeah.
Oh,
where's my voice?
Yeah.
So now I got to re-record it.
Yeah.
No, it's an absolute nuisance. Oh, the sun might change angles, or
Yeah,
the
but you know
clouds
what
come
I,
over.
when I'm on
and
my
it's-
phone and I'm trying to film something, the sun glare, you don't know if you're focused, you don't know if you're using it. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. Yep.
Tough, isn't
I
it?
don't know. All right, guys.
I had-
3 hours and 47 minutes.
Wow.
It's impressive.
Yeah. No,
That was a long
I
one.
appreciate everybody, but I got to get to bed. So everybody
Yeah,
that's
okay.
out there still watching, thank you so much for stopping by. The guy with the hate or whatever, I still love you. Watch the channel, watch James, watch Tom, watch Arch. It's all about having fun. We do have fun. We do it because we do love it. So anyway, everybody out there, take care. We're going to go gray in 2 seconds if you want to chat for a couple more minutes. But everybody out there in YouTube land, thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like on your way out. Doesn't cost you anything, helps my channel. Don't forget, visit James's channel, Arch's Garage, Vintage Engine Repair. We'll talk to you soon.